Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. This Uchiha wants to return to his ancestor Otsuki. Chapter 21. The short, silver-haired Anbu wearing a fox mask was Kakashi. He pointed to Midori Red Bean and pointed to 2 o'clock, making a gesture of wiping his neck. After working together for the past few days, Hongdu and Ling have gotten used to Anbu's style. This means to completely obliterate the enemy. Hongdu left in an instant, and she was the main attacker who always charged forward. Kakashi straightened his crooked forehead to reveal his crimson Sharingan, and also left instantly. The distance of 800 meters is an instant for a ninja. Midori Anko looked stunned. Except for 2 rocks of the same height, there were no enemies here at all. Kakashi, who came late and came first, was also confused. Bian is more authoritative than Sharingan in the field of observation, and it is impossible to make mistakes. He confirmed with Anbu, who was in charge of protecting Hinata Ling, that the enemy's chakra reaction was right in front of him. More than that, with the rapid rotation of the right eye Sharingan, 7 or 8 more chakras responded in the dark jungle. This is Kurigaku's trap, and the team is probably surrounded. Go back immediately and find out why the white eyes have lost their effect. Single quote. I'll break it off. Single quote. As soon as the sign language was finished, Midori Anzuki disappeared before his eyes. Kakashi quickly sealed and summoned the psychic ninja. There are many strange blood successor boundaries in Kurigaku, and Kakashi doesn't know if he happened to meet the blood successor ninja who restrained his eyes. In this case, the ninja dog's sense of smell is more reliable. However, as soon as the ninja dogs left, the quiet jungle suddenly became agitated. Bone vein 10-finger piercing bullets. Sen Lang's phalanx pierced the silence and shot out. Kakashi, who had no time to react, was instantly chilled. An adult man with wriggling bones appeared on the edge of the moonlight with an arm-high little girl on his back. Red fish, your eyes can't be mistaken. No, big brother Kagaya-Kang, Konoha's white-eyed ninja is probably foolishly doubting himself. We just happened to get rid of this guy who is alone. Before the words fell, Kakashi's corpse changed into a piece of dead wood with a bang. Seeing this, Wei Yikang, who was pregnant with the bone vein blood successor, clasped his fingers excitedly. Hey, Konoha's ninjas only use these dirty tricks. You also deserve the attention of Sanwei. The little girl on Wei Yikang's shoulders chuckled. Kakashi was not in the mood to talk nonsense with the other party. The faint blue electric light danced in the palm of his hand, and he was already behind Kagaya-Kang in an instant while breathing. Chidori's majestic neighing tore through the air and pierced through the enemy's back. But Kurigaku ninja didn't even move a step. The scapula bones twitched and firmly clamped Kakashi's arm. This is a good move, yo. Still have a backhand. While Kagaya-Kang restrained Kakashi, Kakashi also restrained him. 2 identical Kakashis holding kunai jumped out from both sides, attacking Kagaya-Su and the blood successor ninja on his shoulders. Everything is only in the breath, as fast as lightning and thunder. Kakashi should have succeeded. He put more than half of his chakra into this set of ninjutsu that instantly kills the enemy. Madness. Bone vein dance of willow. In an instant, the bone spur loomed, fiercely tearing the bodies of Kakashi and the 2 clones apart. Seeing the 3 dissipated white mist, Wei Yikang showed a trace of surprise on his face. You're really cautious. This guy is Konoha's Anbu. Red fish, help me find him. The Konoha ninja who knows our secret can only die. Okay, brother Kang. At the same time, Hyuga Ryo and Midori Anzu quickly walked through the jungle, followed by Kakashi and another Anbu ninja. Orochimaru-sama once said that Kurigaku has the red-eyed blood successor family who are the natural enemies of the Hyuga clans, white-eyed. While escaping, Hyuga Ryo did not forget to analyze the background of the enemy, which is a good habit to save life on the battlefield. See through, perceive chakra, sense danger, and even create chakra illusions to confuse perceiving ninjas. As a student of Orochimaru's class, Hyuga Ling even surpassed Anbu ninja in terms of knowledge. That is to say, because of the existence of that red-eyed ninja, our chakra perception method is meaningless. And the other party just showed up with 2 ninjas. Kakashi, who pulled down his forehead, frowned. The team's task was to find where Mio Aisu was. When encountering Kurigaku, he adhered to the principle of avoiding fighting as much as possible. Yeah, Captain. Kurigakure only has 2 ninjas, why did you run away? There are 4 of us. Midori Anko is gearing up for it, and she is very upset that she did not encounter a battle in this mission. Hinata Ryo raised her forehead, and Kurigakure's blood successor ninja only knew some information about her. As for the means of confrontation, during the 3 world wars, the Wuin Shueiji family retreated, and there was no ready-made method for reference at all, so they could only explore in front of the battle. And this attempt is likely to cost lives. This is also the reason why the captain of the Dark Army chose to avoid the edge temporarily, but Midori Hongdu didn't realize it at all. Sometimes, Hyuga Ryo envies this kind of nervous girl, at least she can live happily. Unlike himself, Hinata Ling subconsciously stroked the forehead, under which was the curse mark of the caged bird, which would cause a slight omission in the observation range of White Eye. Fortunately, the team returned the same way and belonged to a safe area, so the dead angle of their vision behind them would not be affected at all. When will I be able to pose? Stop. There is a strange chakra reaction 800 meters ahead. As soon as Hinata Ling finished speaking, the unfamiliar chakra approached at a strange speed. The surrounding temperature dropped, as if it had suddenly entered winter. Several magic mirrors of ice crystals shining with cold light appeared around. A grown man with clogs and long hair in a shawl emerged from the frozen pool. Sure enough, you Konoha ninjas don't know anything about the methods of our Kurigakure family. Because of your stupidity and ignorance, please die here. Ice escape blood successor. Hyuga Ling looked awe-inspiring. Uchiha Fuchi was awakened by a strange urge to urinate. He opened his eyes and Kuruma Zion was sitting cross-legged with his back facing him. Compared to a few days ago, the substitute teacher's chakra reaction was much weaker, and his neck and elbows were even more bandaged. This is also the reason why Kurama Zion can easily perform Uchiha Yuan's illusion. Looking at the restless golem fragments in the pocket of his underwear, Uchiha Fuchi is also quite painful. Fortunately, this restlessness quickly calmed down, followed by the earth shaking and the roaring of angry beasts. When everything calmed down, Kurama Zion had already woken up, and was looking at Uchiha Fuchi with concern. Orochimaru emerged from the shadows silently. Seeing how harmonious your master-student relationship is, as your teacher, I'm really jealous. Kurama Zion opened his mouth, but he didn't know how to explain it, so he could only turn his head away. Uchiha Fuchi's heart sank. A week ago, I was able to achieve the soul leaving the body for 3 minutes, and on this basis, I performed the Phantom Lotus kill 2 to 3 times, which has already met the requirements. The teacher Orochimaru appeared at this time, probably because he needed to intervene in the task of sealing Neo Isofu. So, Yuanjin, are you ready? Orochimaru lowered his head and approached, looking at the student who always surprised him. Of course, teacher. Uchiha Yuan knew that even though he hadn't seen Orochimaru for a week, the other party definitely understood his practice progress. Of course, this is deliberate control of the practice progress shown. In fact, after mastering the spiritualization technique and Phantom Lotus killing at a high speed, Uchiha Fuchi can easily separate his soul for 3 hours. Under this premise, perform the Magic Lotus kill about 10 times. If Orochimaru knew that his students could do this, he would be so surprised that his jaw softened and fell to the ground. Yuan-jun, before showing the progress of your practice, I want to remind you that this is about your life, please be extra cautious. Orochimaru's chakra became bleak and cold in vain, and only recovered after Uchiha Fuchi showed satisfactory ninjutsu practice. Not bad. Zion, you bring Mr. Yuan with me, and Mr. Ling and Hongdu will join you later. The next thing you 3 have to do is to protect Mr. Yuan before the mission is over. In the early morning, when the first ray of sunlight danced on the sea surface, Kurama Zion and Uchiha Fuchi saw Hinata Ryo and Midori Anko. It's only been a day since the 2 female ninjas were covered in bandages. It was obvious that they had experienced a fierce battle last night. It seems that Red Doe's complexion is much better than Hinata Ling's. The eyes of the 3 female ninjas met, and even the red beans were not spared, envious of Uchiha Fuchi. This guy didn't suffer any injuries, and even asked the wounded to protect him. It's simply too much, and anyone who is better than Cha Ruanfan is abominable. In this regard, Uchiha Yuan could only shake his head and smile wryly. Soon, he will face Sanwei directly. At that time, it is not as simple as being injured. One negligence, his life will be gone. Fortunately, this awkward atmosphere of silence didn't last long, and the root ninja next to Danzo took Uchiha Yuan and others to the open area on the top of the mountain. Under the protection of dozens of root ninjas, Danzo is watching intently. At the end of the field of vision, Isao Mio spewed out a thin mist to hinder the incoming human ninjas. Danzo-sama, the ninja arranged by Orochimaru-sama has been brought here. Hearing this, Danzo looked at the 4 members of Orochimaru's class and said indifferently, "From now on, you will be dispatched by me. Just obey the orders." The 4 naturally dare not refuse. On the contrary, Uchiha Fuchi has a new understanding of Danzo, the high-ranking Konoha. This moody guy, let's not talk about the shameless and despicable plot against him not long ago. Right now, he is commanding Konoha ninja to wrestle with Kurigakure with the certainty of victory. This kind of courage is rare in the entire ninja world. Thinking of the demise of the Uchiha clan in the next few years, Danzo's behind-the-scenes planning is indispensable. Uchiha Fuchi subconsciously became vigilant. By the time the sun was up, the war of attrition between Kurigakure and Konoha against Sano Isofu came to an end. The thoughtful Danzo's eyes moved slightly, looking at Uchiha Yuan. Exercise the spiritualization technique. Try to sense the chakra of the 3 tails. I know you need to mark. Danzo's order was sudden, but Uchiha Yuan knew it was his turn to act. He quickly formed a seal and manipulated the soul to float up. Across a distance of more than 10 kilometers, Uchiha Fuchi immediately felt that in the lake at the foot of the mountain, a huge monster was dealing with the ninja's attack one by one. Like a bored cat catching butterflies to amuse itself. That's Mio Isofu. In soul perception, Isofu's chakra composition is very similar to the 9 tails chakra that I have encountered before, but the chakra attributes are completely different from 9 tails chakra. Wind, water, and blood follow the boundary. Ice. Thick, brisk, and elegant, all kinds of strange feelings are mixed in it. Uchiha Fuchi could feel the strong desire for the golem shards, and so could he himself. It was a ravenous desire to eat. Okay, let's do it. Don't let Kurigakure's sealer gain the upper hand. Looking down from the high mountain, the powerful and agile ninja moves like ants on the water. But in the next breath, Uchiha Fuchi lowered his head and could see the left eye socket of Isao Fuzen's lost eyeball, and the ugly scar was particularly hideous. With the huge body of Mio Isofu as the dividing line, Konoha and Kurigakure's ninjas attacked frantically. Before Sanwei's physical strength was completely exhausted, the conflict between Ninja Village had been temporarily forgotten by them. But this is the country of the sea, and the Kurigakure ninja who is good at water escape has a geographical advantage. Under the cover of Ambu, Konoha's sealed squad got farther and farther away helplessly. Also at this time, after a long time, Gifu showed signs of fatigue. Among the Kurigakure ninjas who were at leisure, an old man with a long beard and round glasses came riding the waves. Compared with the young face of Konoha sealing class, the old man is calm and unhurried, and his actions are full of calm and certainty. Spring rain. Kurigakure is the only and strongest sealed ninja. The moment he touched the 3 tails, his ant-like body exploded with a huge seal chakra. It is enough to temporarily trap and capture Mitsuha, and with Konoha making trouble, it is not suitable to seal Isofu into Jinchuriki's body at all. Chun-Yu's train of thought was very clear, but the seal on her hand stopped abruptly. Looking up, a young ninja with a Konoha forehead guard was squatting on top of Isofu's head, looking at him cheerfully. "Old man, what are you busy with? Don't you mind if the younger generation makes it more difficult for you?" With a grin on his lips, Uchiha Yuan has already completed the seal of Phantom Lotus Killing. Under full exertion, the sensory feedback from the 5 senses of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching seems to fall into a vortex. Chun-Yu was horrified, and the ninja who was good at sealing was most afraid of someone making trouble. Even though Mitsuha is exhausted right now, if he doesn't get rid of this Konoha ninja who is using the spiritualization technique, he will definitely not be able to perform the seal. Speaking of which, this was the first time Chun-Yu encountered such a situation. In the past when Lu Wei was sealed, he only made a move after the 7888 spent by the Kurigakure ninja. In this weird situation right now, he immediately evacuated. Uchiha Yuan smiled secretly. The old man missed the best chance to seal. Sure enough, as the teacher Orochimaru said, the tail beast's resistance to illusion is extremely poor. Uchihabuchi just creates an illusion of extreme pain, which is fed back to Mio through the five senses. The stupid turtle who voluntarily was sealed became irritable. The mountain-like body twisted, the water waves undulated, and a huge vortex loomed. The sky was dark, the wind was howling, the rain was pouring, the temperature dropped uncontrollably, and there were ice crystals flashing. Under the influence of illusion, Mio Isofu's full power can temporarily change the color of the world. Seeing that the Kurigakure ninja fled quickly, the sealer Chun-Yu retreated temporarily. Uchiha Yuan took a long breath of relief and returned to his body in an instant. This is the convenience of the spiritualization technique. As long as you can sense chakra, you can stop it instantly, even your own body is no exception. Seeing Uchiha Yuan opened his eyes, Zion and Ling couldn't hide the joy on their faces, but Hongdu pouted. Uchiha Yuan, this guy is too showy. Well done. Danzo is rare to appreciate. Get ready, Sanwei Isofu will break free from the illusion soon, you need to make another shot. Uchiha Yuan felt that Danzo, the elder Konoha, was probably a hidden crow's mouth attribute. As soon as his words fell, the vision that changed the color of the world disappeared. Sanwei Isofu managed to break away from the illusion under Chun-Yu's death-defying technique. But the sober Han Gui had no intention of resisting at all, and put on a bad posture as if he was allowed to be sealed by Wuyin. By perceiving the information transmission of the ninja, Danzo was informed of the news for the first time. So, after a few breaths, Uchiha Fuchi reappeared on top of Sano Isu's head. Facing the old man Chun-Yu who was approaching in an instant, Uchiha Fuchi formed seals on his hands and smiled. Old man, I didn't expect that. I'm back so soon. You don't want to beat me, do you? While laughing and laughing, the seal of Wanlian killing was still completed. This time, Uchiha Fuchi specially designated Isu Mio as the recipient of the spell. He tried his best to create the yin chakra that bewitched the five senses, and invaded Isu's body with all his brains. Because it possesses the chakra attribute of manipulating the five senses, the phantom lotus kill, cast by touch is almost instantaneous. Uchiha Yuan's thinking is very clear. The soul body will undoubtedly be at a disadvantage against the seal master. That may as well make the crazy Mio Iso care about the chaotic situation. Anyway, the soul body is not harmed by ordinary ninjutsu. Unexpectedly, the illusion chakra, which was originally invincible, was blocked by a net formed by distorted runes. Sealing. Wuyin Seal Master Chun-Yu seems to have a weird personality, but her skills are definitely not bad. After going back and forth, he immediately cast a sealing technique to imprison Sanwei Isofu. In fact, the essence of the sealing technique is just a special form of chakra, which achieves a special confinement effect after completely preventing the chakra activity of the sealed thing. Therefore, Uchiha Yuan's illusion chakra can't touch Sanwei at all. Not only that, but the tadpole-shaped twisted rune formed a seal with the spring rain, spreading from the top of Mio Isofu's head to Uchiha Fuchi's arm. The accomplishments of the only sealed ninja Kurigakure far surpassed Uchiha Fuchi's imagination. But Uchiha Fuchi is not easy to deal with. Now that he knows that Kurigakure has dispatched a sealed ninja, how could he not be wary? The illusion originally cast on Mio Isofu turned into sounds, tastes, smells, phantoms, and touches, attacking Haruyu. Taking advantage of this gap, Uchiha Yuan did not hesitate to cast a contract seal on his soul. The huge suction from the body drew him back through the air, and even Haruyu couldn't stop it without touching Uchiha Yuan's body and soul. The nimble young Konoha ninja left gracefully after playing with Kurigakure, a senior sealer. Frustrated by the illusion, a little girl emerged from the bamboo basket behind Chun-Yu to help break the illusion. Chun-Yu, you're exhausted, you can't beat that Konoha ninja. Red fish, don't talk nonsense. Your red eye has caught that guy's chakra. Tell me his location. HMPH. So what if I tell you this old guy? That's Konoha's base camp, and our people can't beat it at all. Hearing this, Chun-Yu sighed again and again. Sealing the tailed beast is extremely difficult and dangerous, and there must be no interference in this process. However, there are ninjas who perform the spiritualization technique on Konoha's side. This cunning young man didn't sneak attack himself, didn't destroy the sealing technique, but just interfered with Sanwei's mind blindly. It was as slippery as a loach, and it almost wanted to be skinned and boned. But Chun Yu couldn't concentrate on keeping this ninja, so the situation would be embarrassing. Red Fish, I will ask the ninjas of your blood successor family to help. Now even you have to obey my command. That Konoha ninja's chakra has been marked, right? You keep an eye on him, next time he comes over, I will kill him. HMPH. Got it, old man, I will warn you. Where the Konoha base camp is located, Uchiha Fuchi opened his eyes and watched in horror as the tadpole-like runes squirmed towards his shoulders. After the soul returned to the body, the sealing technique did not stop the momentum of infection. Once the technique is completed, it's no big deal that Uchiha Yuan can't perform ninjutsu, and I'm afraid his life will be gone. In a critical moment, Midori Anko Psychic Scale Pill tried to inform the teacher Orochimaru. Hinata Ling and Kurama Zion looked at Danzo imploringly, the elder Konoha, who was also skilled in the field of sealing. Only Uchiha Yuan's thoughts turned quickly, and the fragments of the golem were already ready to move. Even the sealing technique is just a special chakra form. Golem shards that like to devour chakra are always available. But under the watchful eyes of everyone, the sealing technique suddenly disappeared. Danzo is not blind. In the future, the high-ranking Konoha will definitely miss himself, the Uchiha. But letting the sealing technique spread, the consequences would be unimaginable. Uchiha's ninja, take it easy. Haruyu, that old fool, has only scratched the surface of the Uzumaki clan's sealing technique. Danzo glanced at it, then turned his head and ordered the root ninja around him to perform the opposite spell on Uchiha Yuan. The 3 root ninjas did their best, and in just 1 cup of tea, the sealing technique on their arms completely disappeared. With the memory of 2 lives, Uchiha Yuan quickly regained his composure at the critical moment of life and death. Thank you. The root ninjas looked at each other, not understanding the meaning of these 2 words at all, let alone the grateful eyes of the 3 girls in Orochimaru's class. Uchiha ninja, I know you still have enough chakra. Now I need you to act again. Danzo's indifferent voice sounded from the corner. Kurigaku's gathering speed was extremely fast, with nearly 100 blood-following ninjas approaching Sanwei at lightning speed, led by the young Six-Tails Jinju. After the ordinary ninja completed the initial consumption of Sanwei Isofu, the blood successor family and Luwei Jinchuriki turned into the main force of this operation. In fact, blood follower ninjas often master the fusion of 2 or 3 types of chakra changes, and their secret skills are far beyond the treachery of ordinary ninjas, and they are extremely difficult to deal with. Because of this, there are often situations in Ninja Village where blood successive families support themselves. The closed fog hidden, this situation is extremely bad. The blood successor ninja, who was obviously stronger, stayed behind, and waited for the ordinary ninja to do a good job before coming up to claim credit. But it cannot be denied that Kurigaku ninja immediately suppressed Mio Isofu as soon as he made a move. As the blood-following ninjas with the secret technique of ice escape completed their seals, the monstrous water waves froze immediately. Black rainwater full of sealing power fell silently from the sky above the lake, and the surface of Mio Isu's body began to freeze. This simple-minded turtle has long since lost the will to resist, and the blood-stained ninja with the skeleton vein laughs and whizzes past it, jumping into Konoha's group of ninjas. Bones crisscrossed, blood spattered. Uchiha Fuchi, watching up close, tried to calm his soul. The rapid passing of life will resonate with the living, and it is only shocking that he appears under the neck of Isofu. Soon, Kurigaku's bloodstained family took control of the situation. Chun Yu, who was in charge of the seal, looked angrily at the direction of the rock's neck. Konoha ninja, this time I will kill you first, and then seal Isofu. We have already controlled the overall situation. When I see it, who dares to interfere with the old man? As the spring rain formed a seal, the black rain in the sky stopped. The top-heavy raindrops adjusted their direction and aimed at the neck of Three Tails, Isofu. The power of dense seals forms a huge net. Chunyu can let this Konoha ninja in, but will never let him leave alive. With the end of the knot seal, the black rain spurted down Sanwei's neck like a waterfall. There must be no interference with the tailed beast seal. At this time, Uchiha Yuan was a little puzzled. He didn't understand why Danzo gave such an order. There are many ninjas in Kurigakure, and even if the illusion is cast on a large scale, it may not be able to affect all Kurigakure ninjas. Therefore, Uchiha Yuan's actions in these few times mainly focused on using illusion to shake Mio Isofu. After all, this big guy is Kurigakure's core target. Once he gets hit by the illusion, let alone a seal, he might wipe out half of the Kurigakure ninjas. At that time, it was too late to escape. Who would want to attack Konoha ninja, or even kill Uchiha Fuchi? Danzo must know the battlefield information, blocked by the sealing technique, and the illusion chakra can no longer affect Mio Isofu. In other words, Uchiha Fuchi, who has mastered the spiritualization technique, loses its strategic significance at this moment. But why did Danzo give the order to use all his strength to cast illusions on the blood-stained family of Kurigakure? Uchiha Yuan knew that this move would have little effect, and would even waste a lot of his chakra, and even endanger his life. Danzo's order is undoubtedly to send himself to death. But there is no way, if you disobey the order on the spot, your own Uchiha will be worse than death. What's more, everyone in the Orochimaru class is still there. Simply, Uchiha Yuan released the illusion, Phantom Lotus Kill, to the surroundings with all his strength. Danzo's request is very simple. No need to dominate, interfere with Kurigakure ninja's perception for 5 seconds. Therefore, Uchiha Fuchi did not specify the target of the operation, and allowed the illusion that dominated the 5 senses to spread around. Then, he sensed a familiar cold chakra. Orochimaru, who rushed into the battlefield, instantly chopped off the head of a dazed Bingdu Shueiji ninja, and he instantly stood behind the Seal Master Chun Yu. Behind Orochimaru were dozens of elite ninjas who were agile and dressed in Kurigakure Onbi costumes. Taking advantage of the moment when Kurigakure Shitsui lost his mind, these Kurigakure Ambu performed ninjutsu and attacked Kurigakure bloodstained ninja. The scene became weird, Kurigakure's internal strife. But why is Orochimaru here? Is it Danzo's arrangement, or the dirty deal between Kurigakure and Konoha? Uchiha Yuan didn't have time to think about it. The black raindrops full of sealing power cannot completely block the illusion chakra because there are gaps in the distribution. But the illusion chakra also couldn't stop all the black raindrops. In this regard, Uchiha Yuan repeated his old tricks. But before he finished casting the contract seal on himself, Mio Iso stretched out his neck and swallowed Uchiha Fuchi's soul in one gulp. Orochimaru watched helplessly as the student who always surprised him was surrounded by the sealing technique and disappeared into Mio Isofu's huge mouth. At that moment, his emotions were out of control. This student obeyed his arrangement and mastered the spiritualization technique, and Wanlian killing, just for this moment. In order to successfully capture Sanwei and gain the capital to become the 5th generation of Hokage. In fact, as early as when Orochimaru got the information that Sanwei Isofu appeared in the country of the sea, the invitation of the elder Danzo made him realize that something was wrong. The gloomy Konoha executive told Orochimaru that this was a hand prepared for him to become Hokage. But Orochimaru knew that this was not the case. He found the ninja monk of the Temple of Fire who had stolen the Nine Tails chakra, and chose to help them create a humanoid jigsaw power, to find out the effect of the sealing technique and the selection conditions of the human jigsaw power. But as he intervened in the mission, Orochimaru never heard the news of Kajinchiriki's choice. Orochimaru tried to tell the elder Danzo about the survivors of the Uzumaki. But Danzo gave an order to Orochimaru. Cooperate with Kurigakure Onbi to help 3 generations of Mizukage clear up the Kurigakure blood successor family who have always opposed him. Since then, Orochimaru has understood that the possibility of him becoming the 5th Hokage has completely disappeared. On the road to Hokage, you need the support of your teacher, you need to have qualifications, you need to make contributions, and you need the approval of Jonin. Elder Danzo does not lack these things. Not long after the 4th Hokage passed away, this old man needs to improve his prestige through meritorious deeds if he wants to become the 5th Hokage. Conspiring with the 3rd generation of Mizukage to eliminate the blood successor family, Kurigakure's overall strength was cut in half. Before regaining his vitality, even if Mio Isofu was regained, he would not have the capital to launch another war against Konoha. This is the conspiracy of the elder Danzo and the 3rd Mizukage, and it is also an overt conspiracy. Elder Danzang won the merits of calming the rear, and the 3rd generation of Mizukage won the stable rule of Wuyin village. But what about Orochimaru himself? It's just a poor tool man who works hard. This dirty deal. Orochimaru knows that as long as he controls the three tails, he can also gain merits, and he still has the possibility of becoming the 5th generation of Hokage. After all, more than half of the elite of the blood successor family has been lost, Kurigaku's strength has been greatly reduced, and taking Sanwei away will only make things worse. Kurigaku will no longer have the strength to fight against Konoha. Therefore, Orochimaru pinned his last hope on Uchiha Yuan. Take control of the three tails, become the 5th generation of Hokage, and insist on taboo research against all opinions. The precarious Konoha needs his scientific research to grow stronger. But as the disciple was sealed and swallowed, hope was shattered. Orochimaru has the urge to kill Chunyu, the only sealer of Kirin, and cut him into pieces. But the order he received was to kill the family of Wu Yinzu. The poisoned blade cut across Chunyu's back silently, cutting off Hong Yu's head. When Kurigaku, the only seal master, lost his ability to move, Orochimaru quickly sealed and performed poisonous mist and wind escape ninjutsu. At this moment, the only thing he can do is to complete the task immediately, and then try to save the soul of his disciple. The sound of waves hitting the shore was replaced by the howling of hot wind, the frozen sea surface turned into steaming roiling magma, and the air was filled with a pungent sulfur smell. Kurigaku's Shueiji ninjas realized that they had been hit by an illusion, but after a few breaths of distraction, they woke up. The body becomes heavy and the chakra cannot flow smoothly. Before they could make a move, the ninja wearing the mask of Kurigaku Ambu had already quickly killed the Kurigaku blood successor ninja who had awakened. In the fog-hidden position, the out-of-control Six-Tails Jinchuriki swelled into the battlefield like a gust of wind. It only wants to see the teacher Chunyu with only remaining sane. A group of Kurigaku ninjas who are not afraid of death rushed into the battlefield. They shouted loudly, and their voices were carried far away with the strong wind. The blood successor family betrayed Kurigaku. Betrayed Mizukage-sama. Clean up the traitors. Clean up the traitors. On the chaotic battlefield, the forehead and the family emblem can no longer be the symbols to distinguish the ninja camp. When one Kurigaku ninja shoots a kunai at another Kurigaku blood follower ninja, the melee between the Kurigaku ninjas begins. Bloody water stained the entire lake surface, undulating around Sanwei Isofu. The cold red sun fell silently, the water surface was glowing red, and the strange island was like hell. It has developed to this extent. Danzo and Mizukage are really ruthless. Hey, Gifu, Wuin Dog is about to blow his brains out, you really don't plan to take advantage of this time and stay in another place. Uchiha Fuchi raised his head and looked at the soul of Isobu who was crouching like a hill beside him. You guy, don't be familiar with yourself, and don't bewitch me. Ninjas are bad things, I won't believe you. Mio Isofu didn't bother to pay attention. Uchiha Fuchi scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. In the current situation, it is indeed an illegal intrusion. At that time, after being swallowed into the stomach by Sanwei Isofu, Uchiha Yuan realized that the situation was bad. Even though Sanweijio blocked most of the sealed black rain, the soul was still tricked. Uchiha Fuchi, unable to use the contract seal to return to his body in an instant, can only use the secret technique of possession of spirits to invade the spiritual world of Mio Isofu. In fact, the tailed beast is only weak in mental resistance. In terms of the strength of the soul alone, it still surpasses Uchiha Yuan by a lot. Uchiha Fuchi is not worried about the safety of his life for the time being due to the soul division of Sanwei Isofu's anti-seal technique. However, he had to find a way to return to Konoha's base camp, and the maximum time limit for his soul to leave the body was 3 hours. It is impossible for him to stay in the spiritual world of Sanwei Isofu forever. Well, you're right, most ninjas are evil to you tailed beasts. Especially Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, who do they think they are? Do they use tailed beasts as toys? Hearing these two names, Gifu's huge soul pressure only increased. At the beginning, it was surrendered by Hashirama and assigned to Wuin village, and only then did the difficult, prison, life begin. And during World War III, Uchiha Madara, that lunatic, even forcibly sealed it in the body of a cute girl, forcing Isofu to be used as a weapon of war. It hates both names, and it hates all ninjas even more. But there is no way, Wuin village learned how to deal with tailed beasts from Hashirama, and Uchiha Madara can't beat it. Gifu could only choose to lie flat, and at worst would make a big fuss when he could come out for activities. It's best to kill Mizukage. Even if you can't kill it, you should kill some powerful ninjas of Kurigakure. Weaken Kurigakure a little bit, maybe one day he will be free. Gifu's idea is very pure, and then it has been sealed by Wuin village. To be honest, Uchiha Yuan didn't understand Isofu's true thoughts. But tailed beasts are much the same. They just want to live quietly in their own 1/3 of an acre, and they don't want to deal with greedy humans at all. These, Uchiha Yuan, who is a traverser, is very clear. What the tailed beasts have always pursued is freedom. Also, the agreement with the Sage of the Six Paths. But Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara are dead, and there are not many ninjas in Hidden Village who can fight against tailed beast. I think you are completely free. Are you a famous ninja? Are you powerful? Do you think we are free? We are free. Are you teasing the old man? After being imprisoned for a long time, Sanwei Isofu's vigor was exhausted. Oh, think about why you want to swallow me. Freedom is at your fingertips if I come to help you tailed beasts. Uchiha Fuchi raised his head. Mio Iso caressed the remaining left eye, his real eyes were like ice sculptures. Of course, I have to tell you in advance that this is a deal. Exchange your chakra with me for freedom. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. The soul of Isofu, as cold as an ice sculpture, laughed out loud. There is one thing to say, after all, tailed beasts are not the same species as humans, and the laughter made Uchiha Fuchi want to show off a brick on Isofu's head. Just because it's so tortuous. Trade, are you stupid or ignorant, little guy? Our tailed beasts first communicated with humans, and it also started from transactions. We help humans do what they can't, and humans help us tickle our itch. To be honest, if it weren't for the human beings to start our tailed beast chakra doctrine, the old man would still miss that time. Laid back, comfortable and full of aftertaste, Isofu looked down at Uchiha Fuchi, as if looking at an ignorant child. Exchange my chakra for freedom with you, why? Your soul has the breath of Uchiha, and I smell disgusting. Ninja of Konoha, do you want to laugh this old man to death? Uchiha Fuchi was also surprised by the change in Isofu's attitude, but being able to communicate normally is a huge breakthrough. HMPH, Isofu, do you know ninjutsu? Isofu's laughter got even harsher. Uchiha Yuan covered his ears, following his soul rippling like water waves. In Isofu's mental space, a clear picture emerged. That was the scene of water dungeon water breaking wave, easily cutting off the armor and cutting off the ninja's waist. Isofu, can you kill a ninja like this? It's ridiculous. I can set off a tsunami and shake the island. Do you think this ninja can survive such a disaster? Iso raised his head, squinting mockingly at the tiny human soul. This time, it was Uchiha Yuan who laughed, and he popped up the screen with his fingers. Sanweiji's caress caused the sky and earth to change color, and the waves surged into the sky. Zongren, Shuren lost to natural disasters and died silently. Relying on their agility and weird ninjutsu, the Jonin barely resisted the tailed beast, and at the same time exhausted Isobo's physical strength. The screen speeds up. After an unknown amount of fierce fighting, the exhausted Isofu is sealed by the ninja. Wow, Isofu is so majestic, he can easily kill Jonin and Chunin. Uchiha Yuan strangely clapped his hands. Gifu's eyes turned serious. The human being had something to say, but he only spoke half of it. If you know how to use ninjutsu, the screen will probably look like this. Uchiha Fuchi snapped his fingers, the screen flickered, and Isofu, who was performing ninjutsu, confronted the ninja again. As a rough-skinned and thick-skinned tailed beast, Sanwei Isofu doesn't care much about ninjutsu. But when it uses ninjutsu to fight against ninjas in the picture, the gap is reflected. With a larger amount of chakra of higher quality, Isao wins the ninjutsu battle with each ninja. Even in the face of a few cage-level ninjas, they can still not fall behind. Isofuku, who had never seen such a situation before, instantly widened his eyes. Because it is complicated and useless, most tail beasts disdain learning ninjutsu. But it seems that because of the neglect of ninjutsu learning, the confrontation between the tailed beast and the ninjas always ended in being sealed. Eyeballs rolled, Gifu said vigilantly. You fool, are you trying to lie to me? Uchiha Fuchi sneered. Is it true or not, Isofu, you will know if you use ninjutsu. There are many ninjas on this island, so you can try them out casually. But this old man doesn't know how to seal. If I use the tailed beast jade, humans will have to struggle for a long time to seal me. It's too troublesome. How could Isofu lay flat to such an extent? It's just hopeless. If you are really interested, lend me some chakra, and I can try it for you. As for the effect, you can judge for yourself. Uchiha Fuchi crossed his arms and took a rest. The bait has been thrown out, and whether the sandpiper takes the bait or not depends on its determination to be free. On the one hand, it is the freedom that is longing for day and night, and on the other hand, it is less harmed by human ninjas. It was also difficult for Gifu to make a choice, but fortunately it hummed after thinking for a while. Human, I can lend you chakra. But the transaction will be discussed after I see the effect. Tailed beasts have no shortage of chakra, and the possibility of freedom is precious. Uchiha Yuan also tried to understand Isofu's bad attitude. Anyway, I have been harassed by humans for so long, so I used ninjutsu, but I was harassed a little harder, so it's no big deal. Tail beast, skin solid. To make. After handing over the bodies of the Kurigakure family to Mizukage, Orochimaru hurried back to the Konoha base camp. After completing the task, he had time to think about how to seal Sanway and save the students by the way. But the scene was too chaotic, the Six Tails Jinchuriki went berserk, and the Kurigakure ninjas fought fiercely with the remaining blood successor ninjas. Not to mention taking the time to seal Sanway, if he stays there, he might be involved in a melee. Even though Orochimaru is a cage-level powerhouse, he still feels weak in the chaotic battlefield. Therefore, he decisively withdrew with the root troops. It took half an hour for them to catch up with the large army led by Danzo. After the disappointed Orochimaru delivered the task to Danzo, he went to see the student Uchiha Yuan for the first time. The body can breathe normally, but the eyes can no longer be opened because of the loss of the soul. Over time, the vitality will completely dissipate, and then die. This is not the realm of medical ninjutsu. Ling and Xian's eyes were red, and Hongdu was also sad rarely. The entire Orochimaru squad has gone through 3 battles, but in this mission, 1 person died. This is inevitable, the ninja was born to walk with death. Okay, we will bring Yuan-kun's body back and hand it over to the Uchiha clan. After subconsciously saying this, Orochimaru found that facing the sad students, he was at a loss for words. After World War II and World War III, Orochimaru has seen too many deaths, and he has long been bearish. But today is different. This is a strange thing, which makes Orochimaru feel annoyed. Maybe after immortality, he can get rid of it. Master Danzo, is there an ambush? Where is the perception ninja? Who is the other party? Attack. Orochimaru turned his head, his expression became indifferent. A dense water line came from a very far away, cutting off the elder Danzo who was leading the team. When Orochimaru arrived at the scene in an instant, the waterline had already disappeared. The Ambu ninjas are vigilant around, and the medical ninjas are surrounding the elder Danzo, working together to rescue. Fortunately, the waterline was too sharp and did not damage the internal organs. Elder Danzang's vitality is strong, and after the emergency rescue, the wound has tended to heal. It's water escape ninjutsu, there is still a distance to look at the direction. Is it the conspiracy of the third Mizukage? At this time, Uchiha Fuchi, who was located in Isofu's spiritual world, shook his head secretly. After borrowing chakra, Uchiha Fuchi intends to use water escape water break wave to kill Danzo, the high-ranking Konoha. In this mission, the high-ranking Konoha first sent Root to attack him, and then issued a death order. Uchiha Yuan thinks, if he really hiccups. What's the matter, I have to pull Danzang as a backstop. When performing the spiritualization technique, Uchiha Yuan had already marked the chakras of all the ninjas present. Locating Danzo is easy. Originally, he was aiming at the head, but Danzo is a strong cage after all. When the waterline beyond the speed of sound attacked and killed him, he turned sideways to avoid it. Uchiha Yuan responded extremely quickly, changing the waterline to a horizontal cut. As a result, Danzo was cut off in the middle. But 5 minutes passed, Danzo's chakra reaction did not disappear. Uchiha Fuchi pondered for a long while and finally did not perform the second water break wave. Let's not talk about Izanagi in Danzo. 20 kilometers away, the opportunity for a sneak attack was missed. It is difficult to kill Danzo again. Putting the matter aside for now, Uchiha Fuchi looked up at Iso Fumio. See, with your chakra, the power of ninjutsu can be called terrifying. If you know ninjutsu, whether Kurigakure can trap you, I think you have come to a conclusion. How about it, do you want to trade? Uchiha Fuchi clasped his hands and smiled. I can't see it at all, just now he looked fierce and wanted to kill someone. Oh, it's really amazing. After entering the spiritual world of Mio Isofu, it is rare for this behemoth to have a normal attitude towards Uchiha Fuchi. Mio Isofu is indeed more friendly to water attribute chakra. It can be used to fight against human beings, either creating a vortex or setting off a storm. If you get annoyed, reward those humans with a tailed beast jade. The water attribute chakra manipulation, which is comparable to natural disasters, does considerable damage. But it was far less shocking than the precise beheading just now. If Sanwei Isofu knows this ninjutsu and cuts Mizukage, Yuenshi, and Chunyu into minced meat, is he afraid that he will not be free? This is a kind of shock that changes cognition, and the chakra under fine control contains infinite possibilities. But humans are still too cunning. In Gifu's experience, it rarely meets humans who are willing to deal fairly with itself, not to mention that this guy's goal is still his own chakra. Ninjutsu is really good, but I need to think about it. Of course, but I have to remind you that my time here is limited. And the price of procrastination is that I will die. At that time, it may be difficult to find another ninja who is willing to teach you ninjutsu. Uchiha Yuan has a sincere attitude. This is the truth. He has been out of the body for more than an hour, and the limit is only 3 hours. Also consider the time to return to the physical body. After all, the method of temporarily returning to the physical body through the contract seal is temporarily useless. You wait. As Mio Isofu closed his eyes, in a mysterious space, the soul of Isofu, which had shrunk countless times, emerged. Rhino, I've been waiting for a long time. If your Jinjuli hadn't gone crazy, our chakras wouldn't have met at all, let alone meet. The body of the six-tailed rhinoceros is a huge slug with 6 tails. Under the kind personality, it hides a small black belly. That's right, maybe the old man Lu Dao has already expected this situation. In the extremely quiet and mysterious space filled with light, the 3-tailed sandpiper and the 6-tailed rhinoceros lay face to face. Today, both of us are here. Maybe we can escape together. Rocky said in a muffled voice. Isofu, have you changed your temper? Why are you so active? But I'm afraid I can't. My Jinchuriki bubble is a nice boy. I don't want him dead yet. You guy, when I'm interested, you're not active anymore. Didn't you always push me in the past? Mio Iso's voice buzzed. The ninjutsu displayed by humans really made him see the dawn of freedom. Use human thinking and methods to fight against human beings. No, I still want freedom more than you, but killing the bubbles won't work. Well, I met an interesting human. He is willing to teach me ninjutsu. I am very optimistic about that ninjutsu. The little guy borrowed my chakra and almost killed a human being 20 kilometers away. According to him, that human being is as powerful as Mizukage. Ninjutsu, Shuzuru and Kurama tried it. It's really interesting. 3 generations of Mizukage is very powerful, even stronger than that bad old man Chunyu. If we can really kill them, we are indeed a lot closer to freedom. The 6-tailed rhinoceros was slightly excited. The enemy of tailed beasts is the entire ninja village who want to use them as weapons. Accurately killing shadow-level masters means that no ninja can fight against them. Rhino, to trade with him, you need to use chakra. Isofu, our tailed beast's chakra is almost inexhaustible. No, I'm worried that he's the same as the previous humans. Sorry, excuse me, those human beings in the past refer to the human beings who betrayed you. Uchiha Fuchi silently appeared in this mysterious space. After merging the gene of the heretic golem, he is especially sensitive to the tailed beast chakra. Dimly, he could feel the conversation between Isofu and Rhino. Trying to touch with the soul, just appearing here, it's strange. In fact, Uchiha Yuan has been hiding aside and listening for a long time. Rhino, Since you also want to be free, I am also willing to trade with you. Exchange your chakra for freedom with me. Breaking through the secret conversation between the two-tailed beasts, Uchiha Yuan simply talked about the deal generously. It has to be said that the tailed beasts have great nerves, and they didn't panic at all when they broke through their secret conversations. Is this guy going to trade with you, Isofu? Isofu even enthusiastically acted as a salesman. That's right, I'll show you his ninjutsu. Attacking and killing shadow-level powerhouses. Speaking of which, Wuin village is used to our brutal way of resistance. If we use ninjutsu, we can really catch people by surprise. Rhino thought. So, little guy, do you have a way to set me free without killing Jinchuriki? Uchiha Fuchi nodded. The eight-tailed ox ghost left one of its tails to Rabbi Rinjuriki, which would save the Rinjuriki who was drawn out from death. Rhino may not be able to do it, but it needs the seal ninja to help lift the seal. I know a way. However, the seal needs to be lifted. But I'm not very good at sealing. Uchiha Yuan told the truth that now he has mastered the way to deal with Isofu and Rhino. It's simple, just be honest. As a gift, I can tell you. Leaving a part of the body and chakra can prevent the death of Jinchuriki who pulled out the tailed beast. But do you know a sealed ninja who is willing to help you? Looking at the rhinoceros with a depressed look, Uchiha Yuan smiled secretly in his heart. Among other things, Danzo's vision is sharp enough, and Chunyu's sealing technique is the superficiality of the vortex sealing technique. As for Konoha, the authentic vortex sealing technique can be passed down. Unknown to others, Uchiha Yuan, Namikaze Minato is a master of sealing techniques. Now, his soul is in Konoha's Namian Hall, and Uchiha Yuan intends to play with Yin Juwei after returning to the village. At that time, it is natural to make a deal with Namikaze Minato's soul. I do have a way to learn the sealing technique, and I am willing to make a move. But again, it's a deal. Three-tailed Isofu and six-tailed rhinoceros looked at each other for a long time. Trading your own chakra for a chance to be free. It's a good deal. Confirm that the two-tailed beasts will not back down. Only then did Uchiha Fuchi tell Mio Isofu of all the seals and skills of Water Dungeon Water Breaking Wave. He also specially instructed that he must find the right time to sneak attack, and must aim at the head. Subsequently, his soul received the chakra of Isofu and Rhino. Using the ninjutsu of the old bald head, there is also a promise to exchange for the further unlocking of the function of golem fragments and the enhancement of its own ninjutsu attributes. It is almost equivalent to whoring for nothing, which is not too cost-effective. But this can be regarded as what they like, and the two-tailed beast saw the possibility of freedom from the direction of learning ninjutsu. Uchiha Hitomi thinks this is a win-win situation, only he is pure prostitute. So, after Sanwei Iso released Uchiha Fuchi's soul, this tailed beast who had been rotten couldn't wait to share ninjutsu with Rhino. The two-tailed beasts are born with water attribute chakras. After carefully studying the knot seal and the key points of using it, they quickly mastered this attack and kill ninjutsu. As for how much trouble Kurigakure will cause in the future under the sneak attack, this is not what Uchiha Yuan can know now. Anyway, the deal with Rhino will be completed in the future, and we will know when we meet. At the moment, Uchiha Yuan's soul took advantage of the chaos and quickly drifted across the battlefield where Kurigakure killed each other. After Six Tails Foam confirmed that Master Chunyu was safe, the tailed beast clothes covering his body collapsed. The aged Kurigakure sealer was poisoned by Orochimaru, so he could only grit his teeth and watch the soul that disturbed the seal leave. Uchiha Yuan didn't have time to kill him at all, in his induction. Own body, Orochimaru class, Orochimaru and Danzo are quickly approaching the port. Come to think of it, they had given up on Sanwei and planned to return to Konoha. In this regard, Uchiha Yuan is a pain in the ass. The sealing technique that Isofu helped share earlier spread across his left arm. The shortcut method of casting a contract seal on oneself and returning to the body quickly is still ineffective. Uchiha Yuan could only try his best to float in the direction of his body. At a distance of tens of kilometers, even if floating is faster than Shunken, Uchiha Fuchi is still extremely difficult to chase. In other words, it has been 2 hours since the body left the soul. There is only 1 hour left, and the sealing technique is still raging on the arm. Uchiha Fuchi could only ignore his image, let his black hair be thrown back, and drift away wildly. As a result, the port residents of the strange island in the country of the sea saw even weirder scenes after experiencing tsunamis and landslides one morning. The young ghost floated towards the sea like flying, chasing after the departing cargo ship. Although the process of the soul returning to the body was tense, fortunately, it was not dangerous. Uchiha Fuchi stuck to the time limit, passed through the cabin of the cargo ship, and floated into a closed wooden barrel coffin. In the darkness, he quickly took out the fragments of the golem of the heretics and stuck them on his left arm. After the soul returned to the body, the remaining sealing spells began to erode the body. The entire left arm was numb, and Chun Yu's sealing technique was fierce, and it was too late to find Danzo or Orochimaru to undo the seal. Fortunately, Uchiha Yuan still has fragments of heretic golems. This thing does not reject anyone who comes to chakra, but the chakra attached to the sealing technique is absorbed very slowly. Uchiha Yuan simply gave the Chakradu who had traded with Isofu and Rhino to golem fragments. After performing the spiritualization technique, the soul can carry a large amount of chakra, and even replenish chakra for others. The chakra traded by two-tailed beasts is also a luxury. Uchiha Yuan simply estimated that there are about 240 Kakashi in total. Compared with the chakra of the sealing technique, the heretic golem obviously prefers the tailed beast chakra, and the absorption rate is amazing. In just about half a minute, the tailed beast's chakra was completely absorbed by the fragments of the golem, and even the chakra with the sealing technique was also absorbed in a random manner, leaving only a few strange single runes looming on the arm. Sure enough, it's not that simple to absorb the chakra of the sealing technique. But what's the matter with these runes? The golem fragments are obviously very appetizing, but they can't be absorbed. A few chakras with the amount of runes, and the fragments of the golem express that the teeth are not good and cannot be eaten. This forced Uchiha Yuan to re-examine Haru's sealing technique. Perhaps what Danzo said was only the fur of the vortex sealing technique was not accurate. Fortunately, these few runes cannot form a complete spell, but the location, the skin is numb and hard, and Uchiha Fuchi's life is safe. Rubbing his face to refresh himself, he excitedly explored the fragments of the golem. At the beginning, after devouring so many traces of Nine Tails chakra, his Muji self-healing ability and ninjutsu power were all greatly improved. This time, it was chakra with a total of more than 200 calories. Uchiha Buchi controls the fragments of the golem and sends chakra to his body. In fact, after merging the golem gene, Uchiha Fuchi already possesses the chakras of the 7 attributes, and with the high-speed learning ability, he can master the changes of the chakras of the 7 attributes at any time as long as he wants. That is to say, Uchiha Yuan has been able to perform the 7 basic attributes of yin, yang, water, wind, fire, earth, and thunder. After absorbing tailed beast chakra, the feedback from the golem fragments made Uchiha Yuan aware of new possibilities. Blood follows the limit. In addition to the wind and water attributes, Sanwei Jifu also has the ice escape blood successor boundary that combines the changes of the 2 attributes. In addition to its own water and earth attributes, the 6-tailed rhinoceros also possesses the boundary of melting and escape blood inheritance that combines the changes of the 2 attributes. Without related ninjutsu secrets, Uchiha Yuan thought to himself that he could not perform Shueiji ninjutsu. But in his perception, the wind, water and water, earth chakra in the body became close. This is something that has never happened before. In addition to these, Uchiha Yuan can also clearly feel that the chakra of the 5 basic attributes of wind, water, earth, yin, and yang in the body has become active. That is to say, the water escape ninjutsu, illusion and Muji self-healing ability he has mastered have been further strengthened. But at the moment, there is no condition to verify the degree of strengthening at all. Uchiha Yuan simply closed his eyes and concentrated, thinking about future plans. The mission is over, and we will return to Konoha soon. The half of the 9 tails in Namiantang is the primary target of Uchiha Yuan. Secondly, it is to steal from Obito. Oh no, it is to inherit the ninjutsu legacy of the ancestor Madara. Uchiha Hitomi intends to learn all of them, and he may be able to use them at any time. What's more, in the days to come, the conflict between the Uchiha clan and the high-level Konoha will become irreconcilable. Get involved, or stay out, or even defect. With a forbidden technique in his body, he definitely has the qualifications to make a choice. That's right, that's right. But Uchiha Yuan understood that not long ago, his knowledge of ninjutsu was only at the level of chunin. With high-speed learning ability, it is not difficult to master these ninjutsu in a short period of time, but to form combat effectiveness, it must be supported by actual combat experience. Fortunately, after learning ninja at high speed, Uchiha Yuan has always had a good habit of recalling the details of learning. Just lack of actual combat experience, there is really no good way. During World War III, Uchiha Yuan's primary goal was not to be discovered by Orochimaru and to save his life. But in the future, it will enter a relatively peaceful period, and Uchiha Hitomi plans to participate in more missions to increase his actual combat experience. In addition, the most important thing is the ability to fuse genes, as well as the development of golem fragments. After the golem fragments devoured the tailed beast chakra, Uchiha Hitomi could feel his ability to fuse genes ready to move. After merging the golem gene, the short sleeping ability awakened at this moment. As for which gene to integrate next, Uchiha Hitomi wants to see if he can open Sharingan for himself, and even evolve into a kaleidoscope. As for the development direction of the golem fragments, Uchiha Yuan already had plans in mind. The research materials left by the old bald head are quite detailed, and further planning can only be made after careful research. Back and forth, thinking about his future plans several times, Uchiha Hitomi's eyes became serious. The ninja world is cruel and dangerous. Considering the irreconcilable conflict between Konoha Kazuki Uchiha and Konoha's top management, there will be wars in the ninja world in the future, and even the Otsuki clan will come to destroy the ninja world. Instead of relying on the protagonist of the plot he is familiar with to save the world, Uchiha thinks it is better to rely on himself to save his life. Relying on the ability of gene fusion, he returned to the ancestral Otsuki bloodline. After confirming that there were no omissions in the plan, he pushed back the coffin lid that had been simply sealed. Right now, he had to figure out what was going on with the rune on his left arm that couldn't be devoured by the fragments of the golem. Fortunately, Encyclopedia Orochimaru is nearby. After briefly moving his body, Uchihabuchi opened the hatch. The Konoha ninjas I met along the way didn't understand the status of Uchiha Yuan's mission at all. Therefore, they still don't know that the young man in front of them has resurrected. Relying on the chakra reaction of the previous induction, Uchiha Yuan quickly found the room where Orochimaru was. Seeing his student come back to life, the surprise on Orochimaru's face flashed away. It was still the familiar voice without emotion, the smile lacking warmth. Yuanjin, you surprised me again. Uchiha Yuan was stunned on purpose, and then justified. Sorry, teacher, I didn't complete the task, but I escaped back by luck. No need to explain. Regarding the written report of this mission, your speech will definitely be very exciting. Orochimaru was in a good mood, and the oppressive feeling that made people feel cold disappeared silently. Uchiha Fuchi nodded. After all, he had been dealing with the sealer Kurigakure for so long. I'm afraid Konoha's high-level executives also want to know about the skills of Kurigakure's only sealer. By the way, teacher, can you help me see what this is? Following Orochimaru into the house, Uchiha Fuchi rolled up the sleeve of his left arm, revealing a few stubborn seal runes. Then he dictated to Orochimaru the scene of Haruyu performing the sealing technique at that time. Orochimaru listened and grabbed Uchiha Fuchi's left arm to look carefully, and it took a long time to be amazed. Orochimaru, who had always been calm, became excited. Yuanjin, it's great that you can come back alive and bring these to me. Although I don't know what role these runes have in the sealing technique, what is certain is that it is related to the fairy technique. Magic. On the surface, Uchiha Yuan was surprised as if he heard this term for the first time. But it has already turned up the stormy sea. It would be interesting if these runes were composed of celestial chakra. According to the research data of the old bald head, the recipe of the original heretic golem also contained the immortal chakra. However, the strange thing is, why can't the golem fragments in his hand absorb the magic chakra? This question, I'm afraid the teacher Orochimaru can't answer it. Thinking so in his heart, Uchiha Yuan asked, Teacher, what is immortal art? Ninjutsu, or is it the art used by those legendary immortals? Orochimaru looked at the runes frantically, and explained casually. Senjutsu may be difficult to understand literally. Mr. Yuan, you know that chakra can be obtained by refining the spiritual energy and physical energy of the human body, but there are more than this type of chakra. There is also Shanju chakra that exists in the natural environment, and the art performed using Shanju chakra is called Shanju. The rune on your arm is just a way to use fairy art. Let's think about it. It can increase the effective time and power of the sealing technique. That old guy Chunyu actually found a new way in the sealing technique, which is really meaningful to me. After listening to Orochimaru's explanation, Uchiha Yuan was stunned. During this period, Orochimaru's undead reincarnation and curse seal may not have been fully developed. Maybe the sage rune from the only seal master of Kurigakure inspired Orochimaru. The world is so amazing. Teacher, that means I almost died in the mission, right? Uchiha Yuan deliberately brought up the task. Orochimaru promised at the beginning that no matter whether the mission is successful or not, he is willing to let himself choose a forbidden technique. This is to remind my teacher that I almost hiccuped during the task, so don't pretend not to see it. Hearing this, Orochimaru nodded. Indeed, under normal circumstances, if the human body absorbs the magic chakra rashly, it will turn into a stone statue, and you can feel the rune on your left arm. On the left arm, the muscle where the rune was located became hard, as if partially petrified. Compared with when it was first discovered, the rune has grown a lot bigger. If you leave it alone, your whole body will be petrified. However, the fragments of the golem have an appetite for these fairy chakras but cannot swallow them, which makes people uncomfortable. Yuan-jun, if you let him go, you will die. Orochimaru's expression became subtle. Uchiha Yuan hurriedly said, Teacher, you will save me. After a long silence, Uchiha Yuan became anxious. Orochimaru laughed silently. You are my disciple, and you are not even inferior to the fourth Hokage in terms of talent. How could I watch a genius like Yuan-jun die? Being praised by the snake-like creature Orochimaru, Uchiha Fuchi almost got goosebumps all over his body. Just right, I'm very interested in these runes. While removing these runes, it can also save Yuan-jun's life. The implication of Orochimaru is, to save your life, the runes belong to me. It's also a deal. After confirming the removal process with Orochimaru, there will be no bleeding, only after the pain is unbearable. Uchiha Yuan nodded, agreeing to the deal. Orochimaru took out the scroll, drew a spell on Uchiha Yuan's left arm, and pulled the rune. After a quarter of an hour, all the runes on the left arm were pulled out, but the partial petrification did not improve. Unfortunately, one of the runes happened to be on the back of the hand. Partial petrification, which made the four fingers of his left hand unable to move flexibly except the thumb. This means that in the short term, he will not be able to perform not ninjutsu. The remaining celestial chakra will slowly dissipate. At that time, Mr. Yuan, your left arm will naturally recover. Being unable to perform ninjutsu is not necessarily a bad thing. Orochimaru looked at the seal scroll and said casually, Teacher, what does this mean? My teacher seldom talks nonsense. Well, how should I say it? Yuan-jun, you have to know that geniuses are often envied by others. If it is a mediocre person, you can despise it. But if it is someone in a high position, you have to be careful. Judging from the teacher's life experience, hiding clumsiness and being loyal are suitable choices for you. Uchiha Yuan suddenly felt that his teacher who said such a thing was a secondary school student. But he wouldn't be implying the high-level Konoha. After all, the teacher Orochimaru once said that his talent in practicing the spiritualization technique far exceeds Kato Dan. 3 hours of leaving the body of the soul, and the illusion of controlling the 5 senses. If there is no seal master, how many ninjas can he silently destroy? The actual combat effect may not be worse than the record of instantly killing 50 ninjas in the third battle of Namikaze Minato. As the Uchiha Clan, a Chunin can achieve this level. Konoha executives will choose to win over this Uchiha. Still, Uchiha Fuchi's Adam's apple rolled. The teacher Orochimaru has served Konoha's senior management for more than 10 years, and his hints are palpable. Okay, Mr. Yuan, even if you don't understand now, you will have a chance to understand in the future. Also, since you have already appeared here, I may as well give you the reward for this mission. What ninjutsu do you want? Uchiha Yuan shook his head in his heart. He first suggested to his own students that Konoha's high-level officials were not trustworthy, and then immediately gave his own students ninjutsu. Indeed, Orochimaru once said that regardless of the success or failure of the mission, he or Konoha's senior management will give the opportunity to learn ninjutsu. But Orochimaru is so proactive, it's hard not to suspect that he has other ideas. Uchiha Fuchi didn't bother to think about Orochimaru's purpose. When he got Yin Kyuubi, even if he had any purpose, could he hold up to Kyuubi Gundam and himself with a forbidden technique? Then teacher, I'm not going to be polite, please give me, seal the ghouls. Orochimaru looked up at his student, his cold vertical pupils turned like a snake sizing up its prey. Interesting, Mr. Yuan, do you like forbidden arts so much? Uchiha Fuchi scratched his head and smiled embarrassedly. Actually, teacher, I want to learn more about all the sealing techniques of the Uzumaki family. At that time, if you encounter a powerful sealed ninja, you will have a better chance of surviving. It's not like this time, if I wasn't accidentally swallowed and spit out by 3 tails, I would really die. But if you can only choose one ninjutsu, I will start with the most powerful, ghoul sealing, to learn more about it. Hearing such words, from the mouth of a student who has always cherished his life, Orochimaru was rarely surprised. At the same time, he thought of a possibility. Ghoul seal, is to seal the opponent's soul at the cost of the caster's soul. The soul strength of his students is comparable to that of a tailed beast. But, can you fight the god of death? If possible, maybe you can cast forbidden spells without paying any price. Thinking of this, Orochimaru became sincerely curious. The reasons of his own students are no longer important. If he is really a genius who can even fight against death, how interesting would it be? Sealed, summoned Linwan, and ordered to fetch the forbidden scroll. When it was handed over to Uchiha Yuan, Orochimaru said hoarsely. Yuan-jun, this ninjutsu is very dangerous, you have to be careful. Also, this is a secret belonging to our master and apprentice, and there is no need for others to know. Uchiha Fuchi nodded, wrote down the contents of the scroll in front of Orochimaru and handed it back. Crazy Snake laughed silently. Yuan-jun, I'm curious about the effect of practicing this technique with your powerful soul. You may as well tell me what you don't understand, and I will try my best to explain it to you. Maybe you will be the best student I have ever had. With ghouls sealed in hand, it is a big step closer to obtaining Yin 9 tails. Uchiha Yuan bid farewell to Orochimaru and returned to his room. Sitting on the barrel coffin, he concentrated on studying, sealing the ghouls. With the aid of the high-speed learning ability, the original S-level ninjutsu like the spiritualization technique can be mastered in a very short time. I don't want to spend a quarter of an hour to get the feedback of being able to pass the seal and summon the god of death to seal the soul. It's not that the techniques and contents of sealing ghouls are far more than those of spiritualization. In the process of learning, Uchiha Fuchi can clearly feel the jerky feeling. Perhaps this ninjutsu is related to the so-called Reaper. Fortunately, it can be mastered smoothly with more effort. At present, Uchiha Fuchi is reminiscing about mastering every detail of ghoul sealing. No, this quiet study time was quickly broken. Midori Anko rushed to open the door angrily. Uchiha Fuchi, I knew you were not dead, why didn't you inform us immediately? Aren't you afraid of scaring the ninjas from the same village as you were running around on the boat? The little junior sister was aggressive, as if she wanted to question Uchiha Yuan. Uchiha Yuan has never been used to her. I don't seem to need to inform you. Your task is to protect my body. Don't you know my life or death? Sure enough, Midori Red Bean was choked quite badly. When retreating, she took turns carrying Uchiha Fuchi's body with the injured Kurama Zion and Hinata Ryo. At a distance of tens of kilometers, the old wounds of the 3 ninjas who had not fully recovered became serious, and the bandages were soaked in blood. Although it was a mission, Midori Anko did it very seriously. Facing a pair of red beans about to explode, Uchiha Yuan simply responded silently. Fortunately, Hongdu didn't make any noise for long. Kurama Zion and Hinata Ling walked in. The 2 female ninjas arrived with Midori Anko, and Kurama Zion didn't go in immediately after Hinata Ryo's kind reminder. Otherwise, facing the noisy Hongdu, even if she is a substitute teacher, she will have a headache for a while. I didn't expect to see Mr. Yuan again in this way. It feels like life and death have passed. Hinata Ling's eyes brightened. For a long time, Uchiha Fuchi felt that no matter what kind of emotion the owner of the white eyes was, he would subconsciously feel uncomfortable being looked at by such a pair of eyes. But in front of him, Ling's white eyes glowed with a warm luster, like a pair of beautiful jade. But Mr. Yuan is really unexpected. You didn't perform so well when I was around. Pommel Horse Zion said angrily. During this time, it was this substitute teacher who reported Uchiha Yuan's progress to Orochimaru. At that time, it was only 3 minutes to meet the requirement, but today it took a full 3 hours. HMPH, when teacher Zion came back with you on his back, he cried. I don't think it's because you're tired. Hinata Ryo unceremoniously exposes her substitute teacher's past. Pommel Horse Zion with a reddish face glared at the black-bellied little girl, and immediately pinched her. It was Uchiha Yuan's turn to be dumbfounded. Didn't you come to see me who, resurrected from the dead? Why did they start fighting all of a sudden? Hey, let's play, let's make trouble, Mr. Zion, don't take out the explosion charm. If you want to die with Ling, please go outside the cabin. Hongdo is also puzzled. When did these two girls become so similar to him? Aren't you always a quiet lady? After calming down, the 4 people in the room looked at each other. Although, during the Third World War, the main task sites of the Orochimaru class were all in the laboratory. But they also have their own special fetters. After landing, Konoha's ninja team retreated quickly. Although Wuin had no time to chase and kill, he could hurry at full speed at Danzo's request. The normal 5-day journey was abruptly shortened to 3 days. So, on the 3rd morning, Uchiha Fuchi saw the familiar gate of Konoha Hidden Village. The feeling of going home is quite good. As soon as I entered the door, many curious villagers looked over. That is Master Danzo. I heard that they have been fighting with Kurigakure these days to protect the entire Konoha village. Hehe, Kurigakure's gang of bad guys will not pay Konoha's attention for a long time, it's all thanks to Danzo-sama. Following Orochimaru in the team, Uchiha Fuchi followed the voice and saw several Konoha villagers in ordinary clothes talking loudly. This mission was quite confidential, and the news was sent back to the village at an incredible speed. After all, the ninja had just returned to the village. A few more villagers joined in the conversation. 3 Dame Sama also facilitated peace negotiations with Yenian village during this time. For a period of time, we should not fight with Yenian again. It's good not to fight. Ordinary people like us will suffer when there is a war. Uchiha Yuan shook his head secretly. The position of Hokage depends not only on the resolution of the Jonin conference, but also on the appointment of the Fire Country daimyo, and the thoughts of ordinary villagers are irrelevant. But right now, the villagers are already discussing the credit for the 3rd Hokage and Danzo. Thinking about it, the Jonin Circle and Fire Nation's Daming Mansion would be even more exciting. Uchiha Yuan didn't take much notice of these. The days to come will be relatively peaceful, and he has to seize the time to improve his strength. Uchiha Yuan, look here. Among the crowd, young ninjas wearing police force uniforms and round noses shouted enthusiastically. Uchiha stops the water. Uchiha Yuan graduated from the ninja school a few years earlier than Shisui, and was once the first teacher of the opponent's shuriken. Now, he waved back with equal enthusiasm. In front of so many people, he shouted loudly that it was hard to stop water to greet him. It's from the Uchiha clan. It's from the police force. We're going to die that night. Where are you guys? The villagers around Zishui muttered in a low voice, and someone hurriedly stopped them. Do not talk. HMPH, a monster with 9 tails, 2 Sharingan eyes so big, the Uchiha clan. With their mouths covered, the villagers around Zishui stopped talking. During the whole process, Zishui heard and saw it. He didn't care about it. Instead, he motioned to Uchiha Yuan to see you later, and left in a hurry. But before Zishui left, several villagers around him were already far away, spitting to get rid of bad luck. Uchiha Fuchi was stunned to see this scene. The Uchiha clan's animosity with the villagers is far beyond imagination. The reputation of the police force has never been particularly good, but it has been protecting these villagers anyway. Over the past few decades, there has been hard work without credit. As a ninja, Uchiha Yuan doesn't care much about the eyes of these ordinary people. But the Uchiha clan, being so disgusted by the villagers, is taking the blame for Obito's behavior. This is also the beginning of Genocide Night. Uchiha Yuan had to re-examine the influence of Nine-Tails Night on the Uchiha clan. At this moment, a middle-aged ninja with white hedgehog head and long hair walked into the team carelessly. Jilai also walks side by side with Orochimaru, and the relationship between the two seems to be quite good. Hey, isn't this Orochimaru? Didn't expect it, this time I completed the task earlier than you. The female ninjas in Orochimaru's class know that the visitor is Jiraiya from Konoha Sannin, who is as famous as the teacher Orochimaru. Seeing the enthusiastic look of this white-haired uncle, Ling and Zion were quite curious if he hooked up with the teacher. How will Orochimaru react? Hongdu's eyes were burning. This Jiraiya is very strong, she has long wanted to challenge. Uchiha Fuchi walked obediently. No, Jiraiya had a brief chat with Orochimaru, then turned his head and glanced scribbled at the three female ninjas in Orochimaru's class, and his eyes stopped on Uchiha Fuchi. Ninja from the Uchiha family, why are you the only boy in your class? Seeing that Uchiha Fuchi was not in the mood for him, Jiraiya also took the initiative to walk behind him. You must have a lot of emotional experience, don't you want to accept my interview well, and in return you will have the opportunity to be the hero of my new novel. Make Out in Heaven, coloring books, huh? Uchiha Fuchi's eyes twitched and he smiled. No, Jiraiya-sama, I don't have so-called relationship experience, and I don't want to be the leading actor, please find someone else. Chapter 31. Orochimaru's disciples didn't give face. Zilai also laughed, and didn't take it to heart. Jiraiya, it is because of these messy things in your mind that you are stupid. Seeing that Jilai was also devastated, Orochimaru was unceremonious and poisonous. Hehe, Orochimaru, you don't want me to spoil your students, do you? Why don't you go have a drink first? The 3-generation-old man is very busy, and he may not have time to listen to your report. Jilai no longer has a hippie smile on his face. Alright. In the past, Orochimaru ignored Jiraiya's invitation. But this time is different. The members of Orochimaru's class, seeing the teacher and Jilai also leave in an instant, felt a little depressed for a moment. The female ninja was curious, if Jiraiya really hooked her shoulders, what would the teacher do? Uchiha Yuan, on the other hand, shook his head secretly. If he failed to cut off Husanwei, it would have a great impact on his teacher. On Hokage Rock, holding a bottle of sake, Jiraiya was lying on the railing, squinting his eyes comfortably and blowing the wind. Orochimaru played with the wine bottle in his hand. Tell me, what's the matter? I also drink booze. Sure enough, you are still as keen as ever. I heard about your mission this time. If you have something to say, just say it. Jilai also pondered for a while. I know you want to be Hokage, and the old man of the 3rd generation did have the idea of letting you be the next Hokage. The glass wine bottle in Orochimaru's hand was cracked, but he didn't spill a drop of wine. So, you want to laugh at me with this kind of thing? Just because your disciple became Hokage before you and me. Jilai also overlooks Konoha village. No, what I want to tell you is, don't do stupid things just to be Hokage. Stupid thing, Orochimaru sneered. Jiraiya, you might as well cooperate with me. The 3-generation-old man is getting old, and Konoha after the war needs to recover, grow, and prosper. And I just happen to know the right way. Zilai also sighed. How can there be a correct way? HMPH, forget it. Even if I tell you, you may not understand it with your IQ. Orochimaru let the wine bottle fall, and was about to leave in an instant. Hey, just attack my IQ all the time, don't do stupid things. Otherwise, even if I risk my life, I will stop you. Wait until you beat me first before you say such big words. The spirits were scattered all over the floor, and Orochimaru had already left. Jilai also drank the wine in the bottle in silence. As one of the main ninjas performing this mission, Uchiha Hitomi also needs to report face-to-face with his teacher Oshimaru and other ninjas to Konoha's senior management to make up for the lack of details in the written report. Uchiha Hitomi, according to the mission report, the last time you performed the spiritualization technique and returned to your body, there was a total interval of nearly 3 hours, right? Yes, Hokage-sama, but in the report, you can achieve the soul leaving the body for only 3 minutes, which is a gap of 60 times. Hokage consultant Midoman Yan adjusted his glasses, and Uchiha Fuchi could sense the disbelief in the old ninja's eyes. Master Yan, when I was on a mission for the last time, my soul was accidentally swallowed by Sanwei Isofu. When I woke up, my soul had already returned to my body. In terms of time, it is indeed 3 hours. Uchiha Yuan said frankly. My student's soul was indeed swallowed by Sanwei Isofu. I saw it with my own eyes. And after he came back, Chunyu's sealing technique still remained on his body. As a Chunin, it may be a fluke that he was able to get cheap from Chunyu's hands once or twice. But for the third time, if there is no Isofu, I think Uchiha Yuan will die in this mission. This is Konoha's loss, Orochimaru added. As a senior Jonin and the main participant of this mission, Orochimaru is qualified to intervene in the report of Chunin Uchiha Yuan. Oshawan, we will distinguish by ourselves, you don't need to add. Xiaochun, who is also a high-ranking member of Konoha, said displeased ly. If my student is a Jonin and has rich mission experience, I will naturally not open my mouth. Unfortunately, he worked for the village in the laboratory throughout World War III. If you misunderstood me as a student, as a teacher, I would be uneasy. Orochimaru said lightly. In Uchiha Hitomi's impression, besides explaining ninjutsu, it was the first time for his teacher to talk so much in one breath. It's not easy. Oshimaru, tell me clearly, what misunderstanding can we have? After going to bed, Xiaochun has a hot temper. Xiaochun, this is the occasion to report on the mission. Oshimaru's statement does have some truth, but there is no possibility of misunderstanding at all. 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruza said in a deep voice. Today, the position of the 5th Hokage is waiting to be filled, and he, along with Mito Menyon, Zenju Kaharu, and Shimura Danzo, decide on Konoha matters. Okay, Uchiha Yuan's report ends here. The task he performed was personally assigned by me. The last time Chunyu tried to seal Sanwei, he risked his life to interrupt it, and won a valuable opportunity for the raiding force. I believe in Uchihabuchi's dedication to Konoha. Danzo's voice was equally low. Hiruzen Sarutobi, Yan Mitoman and Kaharu looked at each other. Alright, next, let's listen to the reports from the ninjas. Of course, this mission is hosted by the old man. I also hope that you can understand it objectively. Danzo added. Afterwards, Uchiha Yuan, led by Anbi, left the Naruto room. As a Zongnin, he is not qualified to listen to the report of the JNIN. The routine Jonin report ended quickly. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Mitoman Yan, and Zhuanju Kaharu were convinced that Danzo had done a big thing this time. The spies who stayed in the country of the sea in the Hidden Fog village have received news in the past few days. Sanwei Isofu was indeed taken back by Kurigakure village, and before the 3rd Mizukage returned to the village, the liquidation of the Kurigakure family had already begun. As for Wuyin village, the elder Yuan Shi, who has always been friends with the Shueiji family, did not take any action because of avoiding suspicion. And Wu Yin's blood successor family also chose to resist under high pressure. Among them, the Uchiha clan is the most fierce. The 4 high-ranking Konohas understand that the infighting Kurigakure will not have the strength to launch a war against Konoha for decades. I have to say that Danzo's approach is disgraceful, but at the moment, Konoha's interests are indeed safeguarded. Danzo enjoyed the frowning of his 3 colleagues. Zhuanju Xiaochun and Mitomanyan had performed similar tasks, but they failed to complete them. Therefore, Danzo has always considered himself special among the 4 elders. Okay, the follow-up of this matter depends on Kurigakure's reaction. We old guys should talk about Orochimaru's disciple, Uchiha Yuan. It's true, the younger generation is awesome. Hiruzuru Sarutobi stroked his beard. Kato Duan has mastered the spiritualization technique. I remember that the limit of the soul leaving the body is 3 minutes. Has the kid from the Uchiha family managed to do it for 3 hours? Mitomanyan flipped through the report, even though the person involved had admitted it. A gap of 60 times is appalling. How is the investigation of the Uchiha clan going? Riza. After turning to bed, Xiaochun suddenly asked. Except for Uchiha Yuan, all the clansmen have been questioned by Ambu. What is certain is that there is no problem with Uchiha Makoto, who ran into Kushina on the day of the Kyuubi rebellion. As for the other Uchiha people, no abnormalities have been found for the time being. If Uchiha Fuchi hadn't opened Sharingan, then he couldn't be the one controlling Nine Tails. This point, Anbu will confirm again. But 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen paused. Right now, the Uchiha clan has not completely cleared the suspicion. I will arrange for Anbu to monitor Uchiha Fuchi, but there is currently a shortage of manpower, and I will be able to call out Anbu's shift tomorrow morning. Indeed, it's safer this way. Mito Minyan and Zhuanju Shaochun nodded in agreement. After all, Konoha is the strongest caster of the spiritualization technique in history, and even mastered the basic illusion of the Kurama family. His surname is Uchiha, which is disturbing. HMPH, it's up to you. Danzo got up and left with a cane. Before going out, he stopped and said calmly, "Haizan, you don't need to deliberately emphasize that you will be able to discharge Anbu's shift tomorrow morning. After all, the darkness of the ninja world is about to leave." Sarutobi Hiruzen said anxiously, "Danzo, don't do things you will regret in the future." HMPH, Hiruzen. You are no longer Hokage. Turning to bed, Shaochun and Mitomanyan looked at each other, as if they didn't hear anything. After leaving the Naruto building, Uchiha Fuchi went to Konoha Hospital. The 3 female ninjas in Orochimaru's class can take care of his body regardless of old injuries. Uchiha Yuan can't just ignore it afterwards. What's more, Hinata Ling and Kurama Zion are blood-successful ninjas, and their genes can also be fused and devoured. This forbearance of the world cannot be ignored. Brother Yuan, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Brother Yuan, so do I and Sasuke. Shisui took 5-year-old Itachi, and Itachi held Sasuke, who was almost 4 months old, and Uchiha Fuchi met at the corner of the street. Brother Yuan, father and mother always miss you, even Sasuke misses you. The smile on Itachi's face was very pure, not at all like a depressed child who went to the battlefield and thought about life alone. Uchiha Yuan nodded secretly. Itachi's change is not bad. In fact, Itachi's qualifications are extremely good. Entered school at the age of 6, graduated at the age of 7, opened eyes at the age of 8, promoted to Chunin at the age of 10, and joined Anbu at the age of 11. Later, he joined Akatsuki, who gathered in the shadow-level ninjas. Obito, Akatsuki's actual controller, has always been extremely jealous of Itachi. But in the eyes of Uchiha Fuchi, Itachi is a poor wretch who has lost his way and can never return. Later, he was used by Konoha's high-level executives, and even his parents' only understanding was before he was killed. He was hated by his favorite brother Sasuke because of the genocide incident. In fact, Itachi became a depressed child after being taken to the battlefield by Fuyu at the age of 4. Silent all day long, unwilling to communicate with others, thinking about the meaning of life, individual, family and village. And children of the same age are even playing house games. Later, the 3rd Hokage once commented that the 6-year-old Itachi had Hokage thinking. As for whether those thoughts are Hokage thinking, Uchiha Yuan is not interested. All he knows is that the so-called family village conflict twisted a normal kid into a monster. This is the ninja world, a dark corner under the cruel rules, appearing in Konoha, who claims to illuminate the whole village with the will of fire. It makes people feel ridiculous. Therefore, Uchiha Yuan tried to influence Itachi and Shisui. He always felt that the relationship between Itachi and Shisui should be more vulgar, or closer. Rather than in the original book, the two recognized and respected each other after they became friends. Itachi is good at thinking, but in the process, he ignores the beautiful lights around him. But Zishui is different. He is too straightforward, easily recognized by the people around him, but lacks his own cognition. In Uchiha Yuan's view, Itachi and Shisui should learn from each other in terms of thinking and behavior. Simply, before Itachi went to the battlefield, he introduced the hardy and straightforward Zishui to his cousin. The 4-year-old Itachi and the 10-year-old Shisui are subtly influenced by the immature children. It looks good now. Later, Itachi did not appear to use the suicide action of jumping off a cliff to test the foolish behavior of thinking. As for the next step, the problem is on Zishui's side. For the growth of the two children, Itachi and Shisui have a good effect on each other. But these are far from enough to change the fate of the Uchiha clan. However, things in the future cannot be settled by the two younger brothers, and Uchiha Yuan will naturally make a move at that time. Even Sasuke is here, why don't you too? Knowing that big brother Yuan had seen through their petty thinking, Zishui waved his hands repeatedly. No, brother Yuan, it was Itachi who insisted on pestering me to find you after hearing about your return. Itachi said strangely. Brother Shishui, didn't you tell me that big brother Yuan is back? You also said that you can practice shuriken again, so I brought Sasuke with you. Hey, Itachi, it's obviously you who proposed to practice shuriken. The little devil must speak with conscience. Uchiha Yuan smiled, and the two children had developed into a bad relationship. Do you want to practice shuriken? It just so happens that I have a new move I want to try. But before that, I have to go to the hospital. Do you want to come together? Shishui and Itachi's eyes brightened. Of course. It is good. Konoha Hospital. The silver-haired Kakashi lay helplessly on the hospital bed. Beside the hospital bed, Kai in a green tights was peeling an orange. Kakashi, my opponent, a patient should look like a patient. After you recover, you can start a youthful confrontation with me. Carefully peeling off the white silk, Kai handed the orange petals to Kakashi's mouth. Hey, you fool, when? Kakashi, your taijutsu has improved again. Kai looked at his empty hands, and at some point his eternal opponent had snatched away all the peeled oranges. He didn't even see how it was stuffed into the mouth under the mask. Hey, Kakashi, you want to compete with me in eating oranges, right? Kai was holding up the fruit basket to have a showdown with Kakashi, when there was a commotion outside the ward. Hey, Kai, don't be too busy with the game, why don't you go and see what's going on outside? After Uchiha Fuchi asked the nurse about the ward where the three female ninjas were in Orochimaru class, he took Shisui, Itachi, and Sasuke upstairs. In the corridor, a group of people were arguing with each other. This is not common in Konoha Hospital. Kei, in a green tights, was holding a baby, calling out to a middle-aged woman dressed as a nurse. As the head nurse, why do you treat a child like this? I can't return the child to you. On the side, Hongdu stared at the head nurse unkindly. It turned out that when Kai heard the noise outside the ward, it was Hongdu who caused it. When she was helping Zion and Ling get the medicine, she accidentally saw in the nursery, the head nurse pinching the baby's neck with tears in her eyes. Seeing the baby with three symmetrical beards on the left and right faces turned blue and purple, Hongdu immediately began to argue with the head nurse. I don't want the other party not only not to admit the mistake, but to accuse Hongdu of affecting the work of the hospital. Kai, who came over after hearing the inquiry, took the baby away after understanding the cause of the incident, and questioned the head nurse. This is the scene that Uchiha Yuan saw. This baby should be Uzumaki Naruto. That's right, half a month has passed, and Konoha executives dare to put Nine Tails Jinchuriki in a place like a hospital. Single quote. He glanced at Zishui. This kind of dispute would usually be mediated by the police force. But Zishui has always been frank, but just looked at it with slightly moving eyes, without any intention of intervening. Uchiha Yuan nodded. Even Shisui has improved a lot. Red beans. What's the matter? Why didn't you stay in the ward? He greeted them. At the same time, the Roots. Several ninjas wearing vicious animal masks were kneeling in front of Danzo, waiting for orders. Just as Danzo was waiting to speak, a ninja appeared in an instant. Is there an emergency? Danzo-sama, the Uchiha clan has contacted Nine Tails Jinchuriki, and Ambu has already acted. Is that guy Fuyu? No, it's Uchiha Itachi's son Uchiha Itachi, his nephew Uchiha Yuan, his subordinate Uchiha Shisui, and the baby Uchiha Sasuke. Okay, Roots ninjas are well trained, and are especially good at intelligence work. Ja is the only ninja in the village who has mastered Mudden Shueiji after Sensho Zujian, and was trained by Danzo himself. So, there will be no problem with intelligence. But what do the children of the Uchiha family do when they come into contact with Nine Tails Jinchuriki? Among them, the oldest is 15 years old, and his employment agency is Chunin. Danzo signaled Mudden Ninja A to step down. Originally he was about to assign a task. If it is not urgent, I will not interrupt rashly. It doesn't matter whether it is accidental or not. None, Do you still remember the mission I gave you when I was in the Kingdom of the Sea? Danzo stared at the ninja in front of him, with only a blank mask on his face. Like his name Wu, he has no past, no family, and no friends. After being adopted by Danzo, I realized the meaning of my existence in this world. A sealing technique specially mastered by Master Danzo. Nun's head hangs lower. Yes, Danzo-sama. If Orochimaru has other behaviors during the mission, I will cast the Uri 4 elephant seal on him. Make sure that Sanwei will not be taken away by him. Well, now is the time for you to show your awareness. For the sake of the village, and for me, I will not allow uncontrollable geniuses to appear in the Uchiha clan who harbor evil intentions. Danzo-sama, my subordinates only ask one word. Yuan. Ah, I understand. With no instant body to leave. Danzo looked at the remaining ninjas. You guys are going to help Wu, be careful not to be affected. I want to see the result before tomorrow morning. Yes, Lord Danzo, willing to sacrifice his life for the adults in the village. Danzo silently watched the ninjas leave in an instant. The root of his mastery is Anbu's training department, which submits the roster of all pre-selected members to Naruto every year. In this roster, some people successfully entered the Anbu, and some died during training and missions. Still others, fake death, lurk in the roots. This is the nameless ninja trained by Danzo. Some tasks are even inconvenient for Anbu, or even general. At this time, the nameless ninja needs to show his awareness. Konoha Hospital. Even if Uchiha Fuchi intervened, the head nurse insisted on her own rhetoric. She was just taking care of the baby normally, and Hongdu was interfering with the normal work of the hospital. Single quote. But the pinch mark on Uzumaki Naruto's neck didn't even completely dissipate. After being pointed out by Uchiha Yuan in person, Hongdu and Kai found out. On the baby's delicate skin, the purple-blue pinch marks are shocking. This middle-aged woman in a nurse's uniform is a bad guy. At the moment, out of anger, Kai handed the baby to Itachi, who was holding Sasuke. Even he didn't know what he was going to do next, but he was so angry that he couldn't hold back. Fortunately, Uchiha Yuan stopped Kai, and Hongdu beside him was equally angry, but he didn't wait for her to do it. The head nurse covered her face with her hands, and tears flowed from between her fingers. My husband and my child died because of that nine-tailed demon fox. What's wrong with me? Can't I avenge them? She is also a poor person. The wailing sound woke up Naruto Uzumaki, who was about to fall asleep. I have to say that this little baby has a big heart. It was obvious that the outside world was noisy, but he still looked dazed as if he hadn't woken up. Suddenly realizing that there were so many people around, the baby Uzumaki Naruto burst into tears. Sasuke was also disturbed, and burst into tears following. Wow. The arms of the two babies waved wildly and fought together. But the strange thing is, when a dry little hand is held together with another pink little hand, the crying of the babies stopped at the same time. Naruto Uzumaki laughed as if his face changed, his little face wrinkled into a ball and looked very happy. The corner of Sasuke's mouth twitched, and he withdrew his hand in disgust. So the two babies burst into tears again. This tiny detail was naturally noticed by Uchiha Yuan. Indra and Asura Chakra. The chakra reincarnation of the two sons of the Sage of the Six Paths is now stored in the bodies of the two babies. Uchiha Yuan didn't know what the reincarnation of chakra was all about. A degraded version of undead reincarnation. Or is it a secret technique handed down by the Sage of the Six Paths? But these two groups of chakra are destined to be entangled in the fate of the two babies since birth. Itachi couldn't bear it any longer. It was not easy to take care of Sasuke, and now there was another baby in his arms. I didn't cry at first, but now I'm making a fuss again. He looked at Uchiha Yuan as if asking for help. At this moment, Anbu, one tall and one short, wearing an animal mask, appeared on the scene instantly. The short Anbu snatched the baby Uzumaki Naruto from Itachi's arms. His movements were steady and meticulous, and he looked like a woman. The tall Anbu had a hoarse voice. What's going on? Why is the hospital in such a mess? Uchiha Hitomi looked at the crying head nurse and Kai, who was at a loss, and explained the process of the matter. When the tall Anbu asked Hongdo for more details, the carefree girl couldn't tell the head nurse's criminal behavior for a while. In fact, the two Anbu have been monitoring and protecting the baby Uzumaki Naruto, and it was easy to save him from the head nurse. But when Uchiha Fuchi was about to hug Uzumaki Naruto, Anbu appeared. We have already understood the general situation, don't worry. Our Anbu will handle this matter properly. Hearing what Anbu said, Kai said displeased. I don't quite understand what the head nurse said about the nine-tailed demon fox, but what is Anbu going to do with this baby? Will it still be handed over to the hospital? I can't agree. Don't worry, we won't hand him over to the hospital again. After all, the two Anbu took Naruto Uzumaki and left in an instant. As the head nurse left in a daze, the surrounding staff and patients also dispersed. The rejuvenated Kai enthusiastically patted Uchiha Fuchi on the shoulder. Hey, friend, what's your name? Uchiha Yuan. Oh, it turns out that you are from the Uchiha Clan. You did a good job in this matter. After putting up a signature thumbs up and grinning, Kai turned and left. Uchiha Yuan shook his head. Even Kai, who is enthusiastic and hearty, is hostile to the Uchiha Clan, and he is even unwilling to take the initiative to reveal his name. One can imagine the attitude of other ninjas. He turned his head and glanced, silent Zishui. As a member of the police force, with Shisui's personality and habits, he should have been involved in this dispute earlier than Anbu. Zishui just stayed aside quietly, presumably there must be something wrong with the police force. Hongdu clenched his fists and moved closer. Hey, Uchiha Fuchi, you were late on purpose. Is it considered late to visit the three of you patients? HMPH, you came here after I finished everything, and you said you were late. Bickering with Hongdu, Uchiha Fuchi brought Shisui, Itachi and Sasuke to the ward where Orochimaru class was. Ling and Zion, who were wrapped in bandages, were bored, and when Uchiha Fuchi rolled his eyes, he was attracted by Sasuke in Itachi's arms. What a beautiful child. It's really beautiful, can I show it to my sister? Itachi leaned forward shyly. The neglected Uchiha Yuan could only skillfully peel oranges, and he bought the fruit basket specially. It's a lie, is such a beautiful child a boy? Red Bean's voice is exaggerated. Your name is Itachi, right? My younger brother is Sasuke. Could it be that you and your parents have misunderstood that Sasuke is your younger sister? Itachi shook his head. Impossible, sister, don't be joking, Sasuke is unhappy. It's not a joke, I didn't lie to you. If you don't believe me, take a look. Kurama Zion carefully removed Sasuke's diaper. Red Do and Itachi's eyes widened. Hinata Ryo quietly smiled with white eyes. Shisui's face turned reddish with surprise. Uchiha Fudo helped his forehead. Seiko, is this how the Kurama family's illusion is used? Substitute teacher, why are you so skinny all of a sudden? In Uchiha Fuchi's impression, Kurama Zion has always been a demure girl. It is impossible for such a prank to be performed with the family's blood succession illusion. However, what is happening in front of you is the fact. After this task, the substitute teacher's illusion technique seems to be more subtle. His eyes are pure and innocent, and even the purple halo when he cast blood successor didn't appear. Brother Yuan, what a powerful illusion. Is it the blood successor limit of the Kurama family? Zishui's sharing eyes faded, and his tone was envious. Even my Guyu Sharingan almost can't see through it, it's really ingenious. Shisui is very envious, and Uchiha Yuan is also very yearning. Originally, he wanted to use this opportunity of gene fusion to open Sharingan. However, Uchiha Hitomi felt a little disgusted by the performance of the substitute teacher, Guyu Sharingan. He decided that if Sharingan failed to open, he would try to integrate the blood inheritance genes of the Kurama family. After all, activities in the village will become more frequent in the future, requiring sophisticated illusions as cover. It was almost dusk when I came out of Konoha Hospital. Being hugged and played by three ninjas, Sasuke was already so tired that he fell asleep. With the setting sun behind their backs, the four sons of the Uchiha family walked on the streets of Konoha. Itachi said longingly, Brother Yuan, let's go back and have dinner together. Father and mother miss you very much. Uchiha Fuchi touched Itachi's head and glanced at Sasuke's crumpled clothes. Don't you want to practice shuriken? If you eat with Uncle Fujigaku and Aunt Makoto, we shouldn't be able to sneak out at night. After hearing this, Itachi's face was full of confusion. He wanted Brother Yuan to go home for dinner, and also wanted to practice shuriken. It would have been better if Sasuke hadn't come out at the time. But both father and mother are busy, so they can only take care of their younger brother by themselves. Let's take Sasuke home first, it's easy to sneak out if you're alone. Itachi's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he hugged Sasuke and ran towards the tribe. This is what a 6-year-old should look like. Okay, Shisui, let's fill our stomachs first, bring all the ninja tools, and go to the training ground later. Good. After eating a delicious bowl of Ichiraku ramen, one was satisfied with my taste buds after being away from the village for nearly a month. Uchiha Yuan took Shisui to the training ground on the edge of the village. The Nine Tails Rebellion did not affect this place, and the facilities are fairly well preserved. Place lit torches on surrounding tree trunks to illuminate the entire site. Uchiha Fuchi held 5 shurikens in his right hand, and with a flick of his wrist, the shurikens shot out. Through the collision during throwing, the 5 shurikens successfully changed directions in the air and hit 5 bullseyes respectively. Brother Yuan, I'm already very proficient in this move. Shisui also took out 5 shurikens and threw them in the same way. There was a jingle in the air, and the 5 shurikens hit the target, but they were not as accurate as Uchiha Fuchi's throw. Why, surely it can't be done without Sharingan. Shisui was depressed. Uchiha Fuchi smiled and said nothing. After crossing over, he thought about how to increase his strength in a short period of time. Shuriken, which is more effective than ninjutsu and physical training, is the best choice. Shisui, you need to practice more. If you can't even learn this, how can you master my new shuriken technique? After all, Uchiha Yuan grabbed a handful of kunai. He threw it casually, completely useless in throwing skills. After the chi-chi broke the wind, kunai each hit the bull's-eye, even the target hidden behind the tree was no exception. Shisui stared at a pair of 3 god jade sharing eyes, and those kunai seemed to be alive and controlled by Uchiha Fuchi's flight trajectory. Brother Yuan, how did you do this? Inject chakra into the ninja tool to complete the manipulation. After thinking briefly, Shisui said happily. I have learned. Uchiha Yuan handed out a kunai. Shisui, come and try. Take a deep breath, inject chakra into kuna, and throw Shisui at will. No, Ku Wushang bounced off the tree trunk and turned back, almost hitting his toe. Shisui knows that Uchiha Fuchi has not yet opened Sharingan, but why can't he, who has already opened his eyes, do it? Immersed in thinking about shuriken, Shisui kept taking out ninja tools and injecting chakra into them. During the continuous throwing practice, Zishui either stopped to think, or tried new throwing techniques. But no matter how you change it, you can't be as freehand and relaxed as Uchiha Yuan. Suddenly, Zishui picked up a shuriken as if realizing something, and through the light of the fire, he finally saw the ant-sized rune on it flash. Brother Yuan, this is... Before Shisui finished speaking, the torch used for lighting was extinguished by a shuriken. Uchiha Fuchi raised his head. The moonlight was dim tonight, and he sent Itachi away and brought Zishui with him. The person to deal with finally came. Brother Yuan, it's not Itachi's prank. In the vision of Shisui Sharingan, there are 7 humanoid chakras rising and falling on the edge of the training ground. With a distance of tens of meters, 7 people arrived instantly within a breath. Zishui reacted extremely quickly, jumping up to seal. Fire escape impatience claw red. Kunai, wrapped in flames, illuminated the entire venue while forcing the 7 people back. 7 ninjas wearing ghost masks, like the prajna of the Kingdom of Extreme Forest. The 7 people stood scattered and kept making seals on their hands, but they jumped away instantly before they could perform ninjutsu. Chi. Single quote. The kunai who shot out from the darkness accompanied him like a shadow, and after shooting them down with ninja tools, the 7 of them surrounded Uchiha Fuchi and Shisui in the middle. In silence, the 7 communicated quickly with sign language. The tallest ninja rushed to Shisui who had just landed, and the other 6 divided into 2 groups to surround Uchiha Fuchi. At this moment, Uchiha Yuan is not afraid, and even his heart beats wildly with excitement, and his blood speeds up. While the 3 of them rushed forward, the other 3 formed seals and performed ninjutsu. Uchiha Fuchi pointed like a knife and swiped forward. The kunai and shuriken used for training shot out from the dark corner. The 6 people stopped their movements immediately, throwing ninja tools to counteract them one by one. The steel collided with a slam. The 6 people looked at each other and extended the distance. Shish. After seeing Uchiha Yuan's strange methods, the 6 chose to use shuriken to consume them as well. Uchiha Yuan held the kunai with his right hand, blocking the ninja tools that came from the lacing. Sparks are flying around, falling into the world like stardust. The clinking sound was like the roar of crows, and Uchiha Yuan's movements were so fast that they left afterimages. After the golem fragments devoured the tailed beast chakra, Uchiha Yuan's physical fitness was also greatly enhanced. With his current reaction ability and body function, even without Sharingan, it is enough to respond to all the throwing ninja tools. In a flash, he even used the left hand of the condensed water attribute chakra to pinch out the detonating talisman mixed into it. This risky move has very strict requirements on the amount of chakra and control. The icy steel confrontation lasted for a full 5 minutes. Shisui and the hostile ninja fought inextricably, and had already moved away from Uchiha Fuchi's battle group. Around, the throwing movements of the 6 evil ninjas also slowed down, and the ninjas were limited. Although they didn't kill the target, the feint plan to exhaust the target's physical strength has been completed. Uchiha Yuan pretended to be panting and embarrassed. The moment the 6 ninjas stopped throwing and retreated, the corners of Uchiha Fuchi's mouth curled up. For a long time, Uchiha Yuan has been living carefully. This even made the teacher Orochimaru misunderstand that his prudence and caution were influenced by him. But right now, this kind of passion between life and death is really intoxicating. These evil ninjas wanted to kill him, so why didn't he use these evil ninjas to supplement his actual combat experience? With a false grip on his right hand, the ninja tools that had fallen all over the ground suddenly floated up. Just at this moment, a ninja with a blank mask appeared behind Uchiha Yuan in an instant. On his exposed chest, there are gossip-like spells engraved. Kunai stabbed into the heart, twisted and pulled it out, blood spurted out thinly, and, hissing, became common. Uchiha Yuan turned around indifferently and waved. The ninja tools floating all over the sky shot towards them, half of them floated, and half of them tied the caster into a hedgehog. The huge sealing power came from the corpse, like a vortex in the deep sea. Lizaxiang seal technique. Seal all the surrounding substances into the corpse, and bring it into the S-level sealing technique of Wonquan. The technique is activated at the moment the blank mask ninja kills himself. Death hangs high above his head, and Uchiha's heart is like ice. He stretches out his right hand and pushes away. The densely packed ninjas wrapped around the blank masked ninjas performing the Lizaxiang sealing technique, and instantly caught up with the 6 escaped ninjas. Uchiha Fuchi smiled deeply, holding his right hand. Shuriken technique Blood Raven Storm. The ninja tools flew up and down and shot, and the steel roared like thunder as they rubbed against each other. The splashed blood swirled, forming a bloody storm. The electric light flowed, and the blood was ignited and turned into a dense blood flame. The flickering red light shines on Uchiha Fuchi's side face, like a blood-devouring Shira. Time and space seemed to be frozen around the ninja who performed the Lizaxiang sealing technique. The black spherical space spread and collapsed instantly, sealing all 6 living people and ninja tools. Looking at the silently falling corpse, Uchiha Fuchi arrived instantly. The corpse lying on the ground has no breath of life. Even the blank mask was sealed, revealing an immature and pale face. Taking a deep breath, Uchiha Fuchi rushed to Shisui's battle group in an instant. The tall ninja is fighting with Shisui in ninjutsu. After realizing that taijutsu and shuriken are not cheap, he chooses to keep a distance from Shisui. Uchiha Fuchi intervened unceremoniously, threw kunai around behind the tall ninja, and pierced directly into the back of the heart. Uchiha Yuan took out the seal scroll that preserved the corpse and collected the tall ninja. This group of ninjas act in a crazy style, and they also know the Lizaxiang seal technique. The mastermind behind the scenes is about to emerge. And Uchiha Yuan mastered the scroll of the forbidden technique of reincarnation of the dirty soil, and also knew the technique of spiritualization. He naturally wanted to give the grown-up a little Uchiha shock. "Brother Yuan, are you okay?" As soon as he opened his mouth, Shisui regretted it. Brother Yuan looked calm, except for some dust on his clothes. He didn't look like he had just experienced a battle at all. As for himself, although he was not injured, his clothes were in tatters. Still ignorant to care about others. "It's fine, I owe you this time. Uchiha Yuan smiled. Zishui waved his hand, suddenly jumped up and said excitedly. Brother Yuan, I know the principle of your shuriken technique. The 12-year-old boy immediately wanted to find a special ninja tool in the training ground, but he only found a few, and there were no previously discovered runes on it. Uchiha Fuchi shook his head and laughed. There are names and surnames in the clan, and they all have some martial idiot attributes. Up to the ancestral spot, down to Zishui and Weasel. Zishui scratched his head and said depressedly, Brother Yuan, are you using the sealing technique to store chakra in the ninja tool, and then manipulate it, as you wish? At this moment, Uchiha Yuan envied Chi Shisui's Sharingan. Just one observation revealed the principle of his shuriken technique. In fact, facing the dilemma of partial petrification of the left hand and the inability to form seals normally, Uchiha Yuan could only try to develop a new shuriken technique. After combining the devouring golem gene, the unique phenomenon of being able to easily attract golem fragments, he used the contract seal to seal the chakra from the golem into the ninja tool to solve the shortcoming of chakra dissipating quickly. Originally, this was just Uchiha Yuan's attempt to develop a new shuriken technique. Unexpectedly, the special ninja tools are like fragments of golems, completely obeying the drive of Uchiha Yuan's mind. In this way, the newly developed shuriken technique is more like sword control. And in the battle just now, through the high-speed ninja attack with 6 ninjas, Uchiha Yuan sealed the chakra fragments of the golem into the opponent's ninja through a highly skilled contract seal. In the chaotic battle, if the thrown ninja weapon does not kill the target, it will be difficult for the ninja to use it again. Uchiha Yuan took advantage of this blind spot. I'm afraid that those 6 ninjas never imagined before they died that Uchiha Yuan would control his ninja tools and plow their flesh and blood all over. Brother Yuan, who do you think these ninjas are? Shisui, who finally calmed down, inspected the only remaining corpse. He didn't ask what Uchiha Yuan did, and he wouldn't tell it outside, and he even helped to cover up. Uchiha Yuan pointed at the corpse. It's not so much that his partner died at our hands, it's better to say that he was affected by the sealing technique he cast. So, Shisui, who do you think they look like? There is no information on the body that can prove the identity, and there is no way to see the ninjutsu and body skills. These ninjas seem to have never left traces in this world. Besides being impressively crazy, Zishui had heard of it, but he couldn't be sure. Uchiha Fuchi is indeed influencing and cultivating Shisui. Now it seems that Shisui's changes are more gratifying than Itachi's. Brother Yuan, there are actually some things that I want to tell you since you came back. Say, I can feel that the senior management of the village doesn't seem to like our Uchiha clan very much. Uchiha Yuan smiled like an old father. Tell me. Shisui frowned and tried his best to think. Like this time when the 9-tailed demon fox destroyed the village, even I saw those huge pair of sharing eyes. I think it's normal for the village to doubt our Uchiha clan. Go on, Uchiha Yuan encouraged. Our Uchiha clan is willing to accept the investigation of Ambu, and even gave up the duty of the police force during this period, just waiting for the village seniors to prove our innocence. Uchiha Fuchi suddenly realized that the entire police force stopped working after the night of Kyubi for investigation, and temporarily handed over the responsibility to Ambu. Therefore, when seeing the dispute at Konoha Hospital, Shisui, a member of the police force, did not act. However, half a month has passed, and everyone in the clan has been investigated by Ambu, and those ninjas who have opened the Sengoyu Sharingan have been scrutinized one by one. The senior management of the village did not find any evidence to prove that our Uchiha clan is related to the destruction of the village by the 9-tailed demon fox. But why not give us our innocence? Does the village really have a deep prejudice against us? Uchiha Yuan showed a smile like an old farmer who had just planted rice seedlings. Zishui's growth is not bad. He is doubting the position of the village, thinking about the purpose of the village and the future of the family. This is the growth direction that Zishui should have. So, do you really care about the attitude of the village? Uchiha Yuan asked suddenly. Zishui was stunned for a while, after getting used to thinking deeply about the problem. He found that he loves the two feelings of the village and the ninja, and there will always be a subtle sense of conflict. Originally, Zishui thought that he was not mature enough, and his ideological awareness was not enough. But after Uchiha Yuani reminded him, he suddenly came to his senses. There is nothing wrong with his feelings for the village and the ninja, and it is this feeling that makes him abide by the duties of ninjas and guards. So, Big Brother Yuan, maybe there is something wrong with our Uchiha clan. Why is the village not helping us declare our innocence for so long? Or is it the village that has the problem, or to be more precise, Hokage and the advisors? Zishui looked down at the immature and pale corpse, who was about his age. One stood thinking, the other lay as if immersed in a dream. Who knows, maybe you'll understand when you're a little older. Uchiha Fuchi sighed. But Shisui, I want to remind you that as an individual, whether it is a village or a ninja, there are too many dangerous secrets. You can be curious, but you must also be careful that curiosity kills the cat. Sometimes, too fast progress is not necessarily a good thing. Stopping water requires thinking and progress, but also precipitation. But what is certain is that all ninjas living in Konoha Hidden Village. They may think about it, and after recognizing the meaning of themselves, ninjas, and the village, they finally choose to follow the will of fire and put the village in the most important position. But Uchiha's people can't do it, they need a new way out. Okay, Shisui, let's go back. It seems that after taking over the work of the police force, Ambu is not used to it yet. Okay, Brother Yuan, I really benefited a lot tonight. It was already past 9 o'clock in the evening when Zishui, who was carrying the corpse, returned to the clan's place. Uchiha Fuchi originally planned to go with Shisui to visit his uncle, the patriarch and police force captain Uchiha Fugaku. I don't want Fuyu to be standing on the corner of the street with his arms folded, which is the place where Uchiha Hitomi must pass by when he returns home. Yuan, Zishui, what a coincidence, I ran into you when I went out for a walk. What a coincidence, uncle, you are probably waiting here on purpose. Single quote. Uchiha Fuchi did not expose Fugaku, with a warm smile on his face. Master Patriarch, long time no see, how are you doing recently? Fuyu's eyelids twitched, and he raised his chin towards the corpse that Shisui was carrying. What's going on here? According to the security regulations, it's not allowed to carry a dead body around in the village. Captain, this guy sneaked up on Big Brother Yuan and me, and sealed several ninjas in his body. He has been in charge of the police force all year round to maintain the law and order in Konoha. Fuyu has rarely seen such self-destructive battles. He immediately took Uchiha Yuan and Shisui to the dark police force office building. In the basement where corpses are specially processed, Fuyu inspected the corpse with a complicated expression. It really is the Lizaxiang sealing technique, this advanced ninjutsu. Yuan, Zishui, is what you two just said true? Single quote. Zishui's face was firm. Captain, Big Brother Yuan and I were practicing shuriken, when a total of 7 opponents launched a surprise attack. After a fierce battle, the opponent committed suicide, and we saved our lives. Fuyu folded his arms and pondered for a while. What about Ambu? It stands to reason that they should take care of this matter. Zishui said disappointedly. We waited for half an hour, but Ambu didn't show up, so we had to come back with the corpse. Speaking of this, Fuyu naturally wouldn't ask why the two didn't send the body to Ambu. Since the establishment of the garrison, the Uchiha clan has been responsible for maintaining law and order in the village. Right now, although the functions are temporarily handed over to Ambu, face still has to be saved. Uchiha sent the criminal's body to Ambu. What is this? Doesn't this slap your own mouth? When fighting these ninjas, have you ever noticed that the other party leaked information about their identities? Zishui shook his head. He didn't find anything superfluous with Sharingan. As for Brother Yuan, Zishui felt that he must know something. But if Big Brother Yuan didn't say anything, he wouldn't ask, let alone leak it. This is a tacit understanding between the two. Call. Uchiha Fugaku let out a long breath, raised his head and closed his eyes for a while. With profound sealing skills and extreme personalities, rather than appearing suddenly, it is better to say that these unknown ninjas have been living in the village. Is it hidden in the roots? So Ambu is not willing to intervene. Shisui, tell Ambu about this. Yes, Patriarch. When Shisui left, Fuyu squinted at his nephew. I'm back, why don't you go home and have a look at the first time? The one who is lying down is here for you. He has been in charge of the police force for many years and has rich experience. Fuyu's vision is extremely sharp. Uchiha Fuchi became serious. I can feel that the ninja performing the sealing technique is coming for me. Fuyu sighed. So Orochimaru-sama is expected to become the 5th Hokage. I've always known that there are people in the upper echelons who don't like Uchiha. Yuan, thank you for your hard work. If you, Uchiha Fuchi coughed. Oshimaru-sensei has no idea about becoming the 5th Hokage. What? Uchiha Fugaku looked surprised. Yuan is the son of the eldest brother, Toyama. On the battlefield, the eldest brother lost his life in order to cover himself. Agree to Yuan's request and introduce him to become a disciple of Orochimaru. It is an investment in the future of the Uchiha clan, and it is also a compensation for his nephew. But now, everything is empty. Uchiha Yuan understood Fuyu's thoughts. He wanted Konoha's core decision-making layer to have Uchiha. Recommend Obito to be a student of Namake's Minato, recommend yourself to be a student of Orochimaru. Even in a world line that hasn't changed. The grown-up Itachi was also sent to Anbu by Fuyu by all means. Uchiha Hitomi always feels that Fugaku has a sense of Chinese parent. The middle-aged Uchiha Fugaku couldn't hide his depression. Before he became the patriarch, he knew that the ninja clan had conflicts with Konoha's high-level officials. At that time, the young Fuyu thought very simple. As long as people from the Uchiha tribe enter the high-level Konoha, this situation will change. What's more, as the elder clan who founded Muya Yin village, why not be the future genius of the Uchiha clan as Hokage? Oshimaru can't become the 5th Hokage. Nobuchi, what are you going to do? Continue to follow him. No, let's go back to the police force. Fuyu took the initiative to plan the future for his nephew. Uchiha Fuchi smiled leisurely. Patriarch, Anbu is now maintaining the law and order of the village. Fuyu hunched a little more. Then what are your plans? As an uncle, I support your decision. Uchiha Fuchi patted the corpse on the dissection bed. Of course, I took the initiative to take back the power of our police force. In the future, activities in the village will become more frequent, and it will not be too convenient to have a police force as a cover. Besides, Konoha's high-level executives also have the handle in their own hands, not to mention that it is a sensitive period for the selection of the 5th generation of Hokage. Uchiha Yuan naturally has to make good use of it. Get back the power that belongs to Uchiha. This is something Fuyu has been thinking about in his dreams for half a month. But it's not that simple. Just like a normal person proves that he is not crazy. Since Kyuubi nearly demolished the village with such a big pair of 3 Godama, any statement made by the Uchiha clan will only attract more insults. Fuyu also wanted Sandai Hokage to return the power of the police force and return the Uchiha clan to innocence after the investigation was clear. But Anbu has gone back and forth to review it 3 times. In the sensitive period when the 5th generation of Hokage is about to be elected, Fuyu feels that the old man of the 3rd generation has other plans. Konoha Hidden Village has implemented a democratic system since its establishment, and Jonin has the right to vote in Hokage elections. The number of ninjas led by the patriarch of the ninja clan should not be underestimated. Originally, Fuyu believed that the 3rd generation was paving the way for Orochimaru to become the 5th generation of Hokage. After all, after Orochimaru becomes Hokage, returning the power of the police force can also win over the Uchiha clan. As the patriarch, Fuyu is willing to accept. But now it seems that the old man of the 3rd generation may have the idea of regaining power. Do you want the Jonin in the family to support him to regain the position of Hokage in exchange for the power of the police force? Fuyu closed his eyes and pursed his lips, raised his head and sighed. Yuan, sure enough you learned a lot under Orochimaru, but I want to remind you that ninjas should concentrate on practicing ninjutsu. Uchiha Yuan looked confused. Did his uncle misunderstand something? What he said was taking the initiative to take back the power that belonged to Uchiha, it was the initiative. This kind of thing, you are still young, just increase your knowledge, don't get too obsessed. Huh. Fuyu's words stopped abruptly. I saw Uchiha Yuan took out the scroll and unsealed a tall corpse. Patriarch, this is another ninja who attacked me in Shisui. Including the corpse and the others who were sealed, there are 2 teams, 8 in total. Fuyu didn't speak, and immediately checked. Phew, there is also no identity-related information. Alright, Yuan, leave the corpses to me. The rest, huh. After being planned to speak twice, Fuyu didn't have any intention of blaming Uchiha Yuan. I saw my nephew skillfully open the skull, dug out the brain of the corpse, and sealed it into the scroll. Yuan, has he known your ninjutsu? It's not a problem to do so. Patriarch, you didn't understand what I meant. What I'm saying is that we take the initiative to take back the power that belongs to Uchiha. Uchiha Fuchi raised his chin slightly, his expression was solemn and his eyes were full of confidence. After being interrupted for the third time, Fuyu didn't know what to say for a while. You must know that the Uchiha clan is just at odds with those four. Once there is any disqualification, it is easy to cause other ninjas to target them. Being framed as the initiator of the Nine Tails Rebellion, the current situation of the Uchiha clan is the truest portrayal. It will take time to get back the power of the police force, and it is simply impossible to take it back on its own initiative. If this sentence came from a subordinate, Fuyu would reprimand him for his arrogance. Kyuen is different. Once, Uchiha Hitomi proposed to Fuyu that a new family should be formed from war orphans and widowed elderly in the clan. Fuyu promoted it in the clan with an attitude of giving it a try. In just a few months, his word of mouth reached the peak since he succeeded the patriarch. From then on, Fuyu looked at his nephew with high regard. Tell me about your thoughts and actions. As the patriarch, I will judge whether it can be implemented. Fuyu folded his arms, he was quite curious about what his nephew's idea was. As the patriarch said, I did learn a lot from Orochimaru-sensei. I also know that Orochimaru-sensei has mastered the technique of reincarnation from dirty soil. For this technique, the patriarch must know something about it. Uchiha Hitomi is looking forward to it. Fugaku's spirit is not bad, but the edges and corners have been smoothed by the events of these years, so that the name of Evil Eye he broke out in the third ninja battle is gradually forgotten. Summoning souls from the Pure Land. Fuyu sighed again. Yuan, you are still too young, even if you know. Patriarch, if this is not a sneak attack, then Shisui and I just solved a dispute that endangered the village while practicing shuriken. Fuyu squinted his eyes overflowed, after a while. It's worth a try. Yuan, you are right, what belongs to Uchiha should be taken back by us. Hokage building, meeting room for 4 people. Danzo has always felt that the sofa here is more comfortable than at home. But the most comfortable one should be the chair belonging to Hokage. Danzo believes that only when he sits on that chair will the village become richer and stronger. According to the information from the capital of the Land of Fire, the daimyo was very satisfied with Kurigakure's internal strife, and even wrote a letter to daimyo of the Land of Water while drinking, asking if Konoha's ninjas were needed to help settle the disputes in Ninja Village. Although after sobering up, the Fire Country daimyo regretted it. But Danzang knew that he was one step closer to that chair. The daimyo sent a letter urging us to select the 5th Hokage as soon as possible. Do you have any suitable candidates? Hiruzuru Sarutobi took out the pipe and put it back in embarrassment. Usually at this time, he was reading documents, and the pipe would help him refresh himself. You can do it yourself. Mito Menyon said flatly. No, he has a bad reputation among female ninjas, and he even has a bad habit of peeping at open-air hot springs. As a woman, Zhuanju Shaochun didn't have any good feelings for Zilla either. Then Orochimaru or Tsunade. One is insidious and cunning, and the other can't even call people back. I don't trust them to be Hokage. Haizan, look at the good apprentice you trained. I didn't expect that after the 4th generation, it would be so difficult to select Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen ignored his old partner's ridicule. If there is no Nine Tails Rebellion, Uchiha Fugaku might be a good choice. What nonsense are you talking about? Are you crazy? Haizan, this is you who have been Hokage, should you have the awareness. Sarutobi Hiruzen silently lit his pipe. Then let's wait until tomorrow's Jonin conference to discuss. Master Sandame. Anbi was outside the door to report important matters. Speak. The Uchiha clan sent a notification that a strange ninja attack occurred at the training ground 2 hours ago. There was silence in the 4-person conference room. What about the specific situation? I saw with my own eyes that the Uchiha clan obtained 2 complete, unfamiliar ninja corpses. We are currently checking the damage to the training ground. Danzo, who was watching his nose and heart, suddenly breathed heavily. Are you unfamiliar with ninjas? During this period of time, the Anbu was severely understaffed, and the Uchiha clan did not find any problems after repeated inspections. Sarutobi Hiri cuts and spits out clouds and fog. I think it's time to give them back the policing powers. The two advisors sighed silently. As Hokage's assistant Danzo was about to say something, Hirozuru Sarutobi looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. Danzo, do you have something to say? HMPH, let the tiger go back to the mountain. Since it is your decision to kill me, I have nothing to say. At this moment, Danzo's mood is very complicated. The two corpses, apart from nothing, didn't even a few of them succeed. Uchiha. The next day, the Jonin meeting was held as scheduled. But this time, it's different from before. Fuyu, the head of the Uchiha clan, the largest family in Konoha, took two corpses to the Jonin meeting. In the eyes of Hinata, Kurama, Inuzuka, Yumi and other ninja patriarchs, this behavior is totally against the rules. One can think of the friction between the Uchiha clan and the high-level Konoha in the recent period, as well as the news heard this morning. The patriarchs of these big clans chose to ignore rationally, and they had more of a mentality of watching the excitement and admonishing themselves. Before the Nine Tails Rebellion, except for Sarutobi, Shimura and other ninjas who were at odds with the Uchiha clan as early as the Warring States period, other ninjas still trusted Uchiha. This is not simply because Uchiha controls Konoha law and order. In missions and even wars, Uchiha is also a trustworthy comrade in arms. After turning on Sharingan, Uchiha is powerful and always rushes to the forefront. Over the years, the ninja's actual attitude towards Uchiha is not bad. After all, who can hate a partner who is reliable, fights side by side with you at critical moments, and can even save your life? But in the Night of Nine Tails, this sense of trust collapsed. The ninjas recalled that Uchiha Madara, the world-renowned genius in the history of the Uchiha clan, Sharingan has the ability to control tailed beasts. That is, from that day on, the major ninja clans re-examined the Uchiha clan. If their reliability is just a disguise, just to deceive trust, then how terrible is the Uchiha who is hidden by his side as an enemy? In fact, in Konoha Ninja Village, the strength of the ninja clan also has echelons. Ever since the Chinsho clan opened up and scattered leaves, and completely integrated into Muya-Yin village, it existed in name only. The Uchiha and Hyuga clans are currently the strongest families in Konoha, while the Kurama clan, which also has blood inheritance, is slightly inferior. This is the first echelon of Konoha ninja. As for Nara, Akamichi, Yamanaka, Yumi, and Inuzuka who inherited the secret arts, they belong to the third echelon. The Sarutobi and Shimura clans who joined after Senju and Uchiha established the village have developed rapidly in recent years and are firmly in the second echelon. Those little-known ninjas are in the fourth echelon. Because the vast majority of ninjas have excellent inheritance, more than half of the ninjas in the Konoha Jonin group come from ninjas. The remaining ones are commoner ninjas with outstanding abilities like Orochimaru. Therefore, the vote of confidence of the ninja is extremely important in the selection of Hokage. Of course, Konoha hasn't had many votes of confidence since the establishment of the village. After all, from the establishment of the village to the Third World War, Konoha has a total of 4 generations of Hokage. After Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo, Mitomen En, and Resurrection Koharu entered the table, they immediately noticed the corpse next to Uchiha Fugaku. Both corpses were covered with banners, and one of them had a blood-red head and exuded a pungent bloody smell. 3 generations of masters, advisors. Before the meeting officially starts, can I inform everyone sitting here about something? Uchiha Fugaku stood up. Originally everyone was called here to recommend the next Hokage candidate for the daimyo to choose. Since you have something to say, Fuyu, let everyone listen first. After receiving the notice from Anbu last night, Sandai Hokage did not immediately summon Fuyu to understand the specific situation, nor did he send Anbu to bring the body back. The shinobi present here vaguely sensed that this was a signal. In fact, during this period of time, many ninjas have been paying attention to Anbu's investigation of the Uchiha clan. If the Uchiha clan does control Kyuubi, deliberately destroy the village, and even implicate the 4th Hokage, they are also ready to use force against the Uchiha clan. It is related to the reproduction and growth of the ninja clan, and the safety of the village must not be sloppy. However, During this period of time, many ninjas heard fragmentary information, which only showed that the Nine Tails Rebellion might be related to the Uchiha clan. And Ambu, who is in charge of the investigation, has not even given an accurate statement until now. Then, the words of the Patriarch Fuyu are very critical. Last night, there was a dispute between wandering ninjas at the training ground. The two Chunin, Uchiha Fuchi and Uchiha Shisui, intervened in an attempt to expel the seven from Konoha and maintain the safety of the village. Is there a dispute? Fuyu, Anbu reported that it was a wandering ninja who attacked the Uchiha tribe in the village. What's going on? Mito said in surprise. No, the sneak attack was the initial conclusion of the two juniors. Because the methods used by the seven wandering ninjas were too terrifying, they thought in a hurry that the wandering ninjas were planning to sneak attack. After finishing speaking, Fuyu untied the harness of a dead body. Everyone present saw that immature face and the sealing technique engraved on the thin body. It's the sealing technique of Li Sixiong, a high-level sealing technique that will perish together. Fuyu glanced at the four people on the main seat, and said solemnly. The Jonin who were present couldn't keep quiet anymore. Since the Nine Tails Rebellion, has the law and order been so bad that there are stray ninjas fighting in the village? They even use the sealing technique that kills them all, when Konoha is paper paste. If it was the past, the patriarchs of the major ninja clans would definitely unite to impeach Uchiha Fugaku, captain of the police force. But during this period of time, the security of the village is temporarily in charge of Anbu. The patriarch of the ninja clan chose to remain silent and waited for the four people on the stage to give an explanation. Konoha Ninja Village needs a peaceful and stable environment, even in wartime. This is the bottom line of all ninjas in Konoha. Otherwise, why did you join Konoha earlier? What's more, wandering ninjas. When did the wandering ninja understand such a profound sealing technique? This style of acting, this extreme attitude. To say that Jonin who is still inexperienced doesn't realize something, which of the ninja patriarchs present is a fool? The third Hokage glanced at Kanshimura Danzo from the corner of his eye, and the two Hokage consultants concentrated on studying the documents on the table, as if they were thinking about the next Hokage nomination. This is Anbu's dereliction of duty, and this old man's carelessness. Hiruzuru Sarutobi sighed. However, the two Chunin in the clan are really brave. As for this period of time, Uchiha Lord 3 generations, Fugaku shouted to interrupt Hiruzuru Sarutobi's words. I suggest finding out the source of these wandering ninjas. Mastering such a profound sealing technique, they suddenly appeared in the village. If this problem is not solved from the source, the village is likely to suffer losses again in the future. After all, Fuyu turned his head to look at the many Junin. When things got to this point, even the commoner Jonin realized that something was wrong. After a short thought, some of the ninja patriarchs chose to agree with Fuyu's proposal, while others simply remained silent. As for the previous distrust of the Uchiha clan, the two Chunin members of the clan dared to expel the wandering ninjas, who died together. Who would dare to accuse Uchiha of such awareness? On the contrary, it is possible for the Uchiha clan to direct and perform the act of the wandering ninjas dying together, so naturally Jonin also thought of it. But looking at the attitudes of the four on the stage, they simply ignored this possibility. After all, I came here today to cast a vote of confidence in the future of Hokage. Oh, it's really interesting. Patriarch Fuyu, I understand your painstaking efforts. After all, my lovely student Uchiha Yuan brought a complete brain tissue overnight and asked me as a teacher if I could help. Orochimaru, who had been watching from the sidelines, said with a smile. He is the same as Jirai, an elite of commoner ninja, so he is naturally qualified to speak out. Hearing Orochimaru talk about brain tissue, all the shinobi in the room focused their eyes on another corpse. They vaguely felt that this matter was going to become a big deal. The ninjutsu of prying out information from the mouth of a corpse is no stranger to the major ninja. Not to mention Uchiha, a ninja with a long history. What did Uchiha take the brain tissue to find Orochimaru? I can't bear to know when I sit. But who knows if the Uchiha clan has ever tortured this corpse? The atmosphere of the originally serious Jonin meeting suddenly became weird. There are not a few Shengrin who want to watch the excitement, even though they are trying their best to endure. Even if it's me, I still have limited research on the forbidden technique. dirty soil reincarnation, left by the second generation. But if the wandering ninja can be reincarnated, maybe it can uproot the hidden dangers of the village. Orochimaru looked at his former teacher Sandaime Hokage. Teacher, maybe you can help me. Hiruzuru Sarutobi's eyelids twitched, and Danzo Shimura's mouth twitched, but finally he remained silent. The Jonin present here are a little excited. If that brainless, wandering ninja really walks into the Jonin conference room, it will be very lively. That is a forbidden technique that violates ethics and morals. I am afraid that no one in the village will perform it after the second Dame Sama. 3 generations of Hokage said slowly, and then he looked at Uchiha Fugaku. Since the Uchiha clan has always been responsible for the security of the village, then you, Fuyu, are responsible for implementing this matter. Of course, this is the power given to us by the second Hokage. After Fuyu finished speaking, he sat down in silence. Jonin who have the mentality of eating melons feel quite regretful. Is this the end of the matter? But the ninja clan chiefs knew that the power to maintain the law and order of the village returned to Uchiha's hands again. In other words, Ambu did not investigate the evidence of the relationship between the Kyuubi rebellion and the Uchiha clan. Among them, only the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hyuzu, sighed in his heart. He has always understood the conflict between the ninja and the higher-ups. The reproduction and growth of the ethnic group is the mission of the ninja patriarchs of all generations, but Konoha's senior officials have always advocated the will of fire. There is nothing wrong with protecting the village and the hopeful young people in the future. But in the war years, this is the shackles on the neck of the ninja. Especially for Hinata and Uchiha. In most cases, blood ninjas are much stronger than commoner ninjas. Therefore, it also undertakes more difficult tasks in the war, such as attacking the fortifications in the early stage of the war and breaking the situation during the wrestling period. With the sacrifice of many elite talents cultivated, Hyuga Nichizu had to consider sending the new blood of the clan to the perception team as much as possible. However, Uchiha, who is in charge of the police force, cannot escape the suspicion and beating of high-level officials because of natural disasters, such as the Nine Tails Rebellion. How should Hinata choose in the future? As the patriarch, Hinata has a lot of worries. Okay, do you have any suggestions about the incident of the wandering ninja attacking the village? If not, let's discuss the Hokage waiting list and vote of confidence. Yuan, why are you more lazy than Obito? Before the person arrived, the piercing sound had penetrated the wooden door and exploded in my ears. Uchiha Fuchi, who was in a light sleep, sat up blankly. The old man with short white hair and short hair pushed open the door. Yuan, when did you come back? Or am I old and dizzy? Talking to himself, the old man closed the door and opened it again. After confirming that the child in the room was Uchiha Yuan, he said pleasantly. Yuan, you are really back. The old man was very happy, which was rare since Obito Uchiha left. Grandma, I just finished the task and I'm very tired. Can you let me lie in bed for a while? Okay, you've worked hard. What a fart, you kid, it's already noon, get up and eat. The magic sound entered his ears, and Uchiha Yuan didn't even want to sleep. Get up and wash, and eat with grandma with soil. During the period, tell the old man what he saw and heard during his mission. Uchiha Yuan tried his best to look like an ordinary 15-year-old boy. He didn't ask about Genbu taking away the old man in the Night of Nine Tails. In his opinion, Obito's grandma is undoubtedly happy living in limited cognition. Yuan, grandma, I'm wondering if I should adopt another child. Well, that's good. At least when I go out to do tasks, someone will chat with you. After the Nine Tails Rebellion, the Uchiha clan had more orphans and widowed old people. Uchiha Hitomi proposed to Fuyu that the system of forming a family between the two is still being implemented. HMPH, I want to adopt a girl this time. Grandma Obito held her chin in both hands. A girl, well, when she grows up, you can get married. Okay, Uchiha Yuan almost spit out the rice. For Grandma Obito, it is always a pity that her grandson Obito left the world without a family. She didn't want to see the same regret in Uchiha Yuan. Grandma, it's too early to say such a thing. At my age, even if you become an orphan, you still have the ability to support yourself. HMPH, I'm just kidding you. Granny Obito has a very lively personality, and Obito's character before blackening was mostly influenced by the old man. At this time, Uchiha Yuan properly made his expression surprised and regretful. The old man is naturally very satisfied with this. In his opinion, there is nothing more interesting than playing pranks on his grandson. After Uchiha Yuan finished his meal and helped the old man clean up, he went out. Shisui and Itachi were waiting at the street corner last night. It's not bad, it's really cool to put on the uniform of the police force. Shisui scratched the back of his head in embarrassment, watching Itachi enviously. Brother Yuan, the captain asked me to invite you over. Okay, I'll go with you. It is not difficult to predict that the security power of the village will return to Uchiha's hands. Before the fourth Hokage came to power, the third Hokage took the blame and resigned, and his reputation plummeted. The peace talks with Yan Yin have not yet been implemented, and a vote of confidence from Uchiha Jonin is needed. As for Danzo, it seems that he has the handle in the hands of the Uchiha clan, and he dare not act rashly. What's more, Ambu didn't find a name in the investigation. They are used to performing confidential tasks in the dark, and they don't have the experience and ability to maintain law and order. For the sake of Konoha Hidden Village, the 4 high-level officials can only restart Uchiha to take charge of the police force under the condition of limited talent reserves. It's just that next, they will implement harsh monitoring on Uchiha, and even cut off unnecessary contacts. The infighting in the village is still not over. Uchiha Yuan knew about this, but also felt a little regretful. Back then, the name Konoha was given by Uchiha's ancestor Madara himself. If the world line does not change, this will be Uchiha's cemetery 7 years later. It can only be said that things are impermanent. It was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon when Uchiha Fuchi, Shisui and Itachi arrived at the police force. Most of the Uchiha elites are quite happy to re-enter the working state. There are also some people who are frowning, obviously realizing that the future may not be easy. Fu Yuping retreated from the water and Itachi, and talked with Uchiha Yuan alone in the captain's office. Yuan, it seems that you have a good relationship with Orochimaru, and you actually persuaded him to help. Uchiha Fuchi shook his head. No, it's just that the teacher is a little depressed and wants to vent his emotions. Hearing what his nephew said, Fu Yu also understood that the competition for the position of the 5th Hokage might be more intense than in the similarity. As for the dirtiness, it has nothing to do with the Uchiha clan. How about it, Yuan, are you interested in working in the garrison? The power can return to Uchiha's hands, and the information and corpses you provided are very effective. Uchiha Fuchi thought for a while, and declined due to the reason that his left-hand injury needs to be recuperated, and he is currently incompetent for work. In this case, let's hang up a vacancy first. This time, Uchiha Yuan did not refuse. This is the necessary cover to obtain Yin 9 Tails, and it is within the plan. Before entering the police force, he planned to concentrate on mastering all the ninjutsu and forbidden techniques of Juhulai. After all, in the ninja world, strength is worth more effort than the battle itself. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.